And we are live. Welcome, guys. Welcome to this special edition where we're going to be reacting to Andrew Wilson versus Candace Owens, going over the assassination of Charlie Kirk. I've got Rolo Tomassi with me. We've been talking about this for a while. We're going to start by playing the intro. We're going to get into it as quickly as we can. After a few minutes, we'll jump back in here and I'll describe like what I thought. Rolo and I both watched the entire debate. Rolo watched it live because Rolo's old enough to get up at 6 o'clock in the morning to watch this.
Hey, man, I have greyhounds. I'm up at 5, man.
Let me say one thing. I hit up Adam Sosnick when I heard this. It came on at 8 o'clock in the morning Pacific. Yeah, you remember all those great presidential debates at 8 a.m.?
Mm-hmm.
What is Lincoln Douglas? Is this like the 1860s? What is this? Why was this debate so freaking early? Anyway, we're going to get into that, and we'll let you guys decide for yourself, and this should be a really, really fun time.
Okay, so we're officially live. Candace, Andrew, good to sit down here with you, talking to you guys about the conversation that I think started with you being on Joe Rogan when you said, hey, I'm offering $300,000. And for the audience watching this, you have to know when you see this final product, there's a lot of stuff that happens behind closed doors. There was still communication till midnight, even some of the stuff this morning. It's like you're trying to sell a company. It's the last 24 hours that the deal doesn't work out, but kudos to the both of you guys that you made it work. The topic of discussion today, how this got prompted is, Andrew, you said there's overwhelming evidence that Tyler Robinson shot and killed Charlie Kirk. And Candace.
Okay, real quick. This is one thing I want to go over because there's two different things going on here. Andrew Wilson is trying to have a debate and Candace Owens got offered $300,000. I want to make sure this is very clear that we understand this. Because you're going to see this whole time. They are not speaking the same language. So Andrew Wilson, this is his strong suit. He likes to get into Socratic debate. He likes to provide suppositions, evidence, and then he tries to basically, you can't just say, I feel like something's true. That's not how debate works. Candace is like, you're going to see a lot of Candace being like, well, I'm just asking a question, So I want to say this off the rip. While I did appreciate this production, this was an attempt where one person was trying to debate and the other person was just, basically got offered $300,000. That's what I'm saying.
Your position was he's a patsy. Tyler Robinson is a patsy. So, of course, we'll talk about
now, PBD's already misstated it. Her position was not that he was a patsy. Her position was that she's asking questions. Now, you're going to see how this goes back and forward several times, because if you guys have watched her show, you're like, no, she very clearly said that she was a patsy. And then later on, well, you'll see. I'll let her talk and I'll let her use her own words.
A lot of different things, but that's kind of how the whole thing got started. For the audience watching, I think this is truly for three different people. Number one is anybody out there that loves Charlie, respects Charlie.
We're going to speed it up a little bit.
His legacy, what he did. We have a lot of love and admiration for what he did. He changed the lives of many people, young men, young women. You worked with him for many years. You guys were friends. You've said a lot of good things about Charlie, respectful towards him. You guys may have disagreed on something, but we got a lot of respect for him. The second audience is the folks out there, you that's watching this. And so for you, you've been wanting something like this to take place. And kudos for Andrew for coming out and saying, hey, I want to have this conversation, and for Candace to accept it. So you have the ability to say, I agree, I disagree.
There's this elephant in the room. Like, you had to offer $300,000. That is the craziest part of this whole thing. Like, I'm sorry. Like, Candace Owens should have agreed to this debate and then given the money back. This is, to me, that was the part that is still like, this is, I know she doesn't recognize this, and maybe, I don't know, maybe she needs the money, but this is going to be held over her head for the rest of her life. Because the thing is, it's one thing for him to offer $300,000, but then she accepts it, and then after the debate, she keeps the $300,000, which is really, really shady to me. Because now it's like, well, this was Socratic debate. He had to pay you just to debate you. Like, that was the part that was
comment to all the stuff that you're doing online, and if you want to see more of these things, any of the three channels, subscribe to them: the Candace Show, the Crucible. I'm sure some of the people from Crucible are watching as well, and the PBD podcast. The more you subscribe to this, the more we're able to deliver these types of conversations.
Yeah, people are like, she would. I see all these other people like standing up for Candace. Listen, I understand she would debate other people for free. There's very few people who want to debate Andrew Wilson. I think I could on certain topics, but I don't think a lot of people want to debate Andrew because he puts a lot of work into his. There's some guys that are really good at it. I will admit Destiny is a really good debater, and I will admit Andrew Wilson is a really good debater. I will not tell you that Candace Owens is kind of like Austin Whitsitt. You guys don't know who Austin Whitsitt is unless you're a flat earther. Austin Whitsitt is like, he's the ultimate gish galop, very, very fast flat earther, bring forth a lot of different claims at the same time. You can't fact check all of them, go really, really quick. And she's on a roll when she's on her show in a debate format like this. This is not really a good spot for her. I'm not saying she won or lost yet. What I am saying, though, it was very clear to me from the beginning, Andrew wanted to debate. Candace wanted to sit there and create doubt, but that's not how debates work.
There's a lot of about the 300,000. There's a lot of words going around on Twitter right now about the 300,000. One is that Andrew paid the 300,000 so that he could have access to a larger audience, which if you look at like Candace's channel is like 6.6 million. So she's got quite a bigger appeal than Andrew has, but Andrew's no slouch. So he's been on commercial TV. You know, he's definitely a come up in that respect, but $300,000 for Candace, if you know who she's married to, that's nothing. She should have given the money back because she doesn't really need that money, but she did take that money. And I think she's trying to take the money as a statement saying like, I won, so I'm taking the money and I'm going home. It's almost like a victory. It's triumph, right? The other thing is that and I don't know how this would work, but there's rumor that if she takes the money and she keeps the money, then TPUSA has a lawsuit against her for libel or defamation or whatever when she starts talking, if she says anything, because now she has taken money to talk about her conspiracy theories about the death of Charlie Kirk, which of course, obviously TPUSA has a vested interest in his reputation, right? So
it's defamation or libel if she definitively accuses her, Erica Kirk, of a crime, which depending on which clip you listen to, it sounds to me like she does. I had someone hit me up the other day. It's like, yeah, but didn't Erica Kirk look weird? Who fucking cares? It's so ridiculous. Yeah. This is such an absurd argument to me. Like we're gonna get into this a little bit. Be forewarned, because I'm on a debate spree. I've got another one coming up here in a little bit. I'm going to be doing a lot more of these. Jubilee has reached out to me. Hopefully I can get on something with them. But I just be forewarned. When you come into a debate, you don't get to say, well, this was my position, but I'm not really sure. I'm just asking questions. Then don't debate. Then don't take the 300,000. So that's the only thing. But anyway, I'm being too biased here. Let's keep going with let's keep going with what we're talking about here, because there's so much great stuff and there's so many great lessons to learn here.
To you. And last but not least, it's about the two of you. My goal is to speak as little as possible. 99% of the time, it'll be you guys speaking, and the audience will be able to see it. If I jump in, just so everybody knows, on the back end, both have agreed. In the back, there's 3 people representing Andrew and 3 people representing Candace to do fact checking. So at any point, if somebody makes a claim, the other can say, can we fact check this? I can jump in and say, fact check this. Even the folks in the back can say, fact check this. So it is a very fair conversation that we're having here. And so with that being said, kudos to Michael Knowles. Your name was mentioned a lot. You missed out right now. The last 10 minutes, we talked about you. There's a lot of love and respect here mutually from both parties, all 3 of them here. And then, of course, the great Joe Rogan that started this conversation. And he also volunteered, but it ended up being this format that we have here today. So with that being said, Andrew, your claim is overwhelming evidence that Tyler Robinson killed Charlie Kirk. Opening statements, opening comments.
Sure. And what I mean by overwhelming is
hey, real quick, I'm looking in the chat and I see a lot of people that are Hey, oh my God. Hey, bro, what's going on, man?
Hey,
Andrew, what's
Hang on, I can't hardly hear you guys. 1 second. Let me figure out how to get you on speaker.
Okay.
Who's that? That's Rolo Tomassi.
Hey.
Yo, what up, Rolo?
Hey,
What's going on, man?
Give me a second, man. I'm trying to figure out how to fucking hear what you guys are saying. I'm out in the hotel lobby right now. 1 second.
Okay. Love it. All right, we'll let Andrew jump back in here, but we're going to go over this just a second. I just wrote Andrew a little while ago. I know Rolo did too. So let's.
I texted him. I just gave him a text. So.
All right, let's keep this going here until Andrew jumps back on.
Find it very convincing. I think that's what most people mean when they say overwhelming evidence. So I have a brief opening statement. On September 10th, 2025, Charlie Kirk was murdered. Many of you already know a lot about the events which occurred after Kirk's death. You remember the ghoulish laughter, celebrations, and madness we saw from leftists all over, from TikTok invasions, debates, posts on social media, destruction of memorials, and things like this. Within weeks of Kirk's death, a cottage industry began to form, peddling various alternative theories on how he died. What special interest may have killed him, what nations were involved, and was our own government one of them? Because this was the first nationwide traumatic event in Gen Z's lifetime, the demand for answers was severe and palpable. The leading theory from the conspiracy verse is that Israel worked with the United States government to murder Charlie Kirk. Within a day or two of Kirk's death, Ian Carroll claimed that Israel killed Charlie Kirk. And the conspiracy caught on like wildfire. This theory was built on one misleading piece of evidence. That in his final days, on or around September 8th, Charlie sent a text message reading, "Jewish donors play into all the stereotypes. I cannot and will not be bullied like this, leaving me no choice but to leave the pro-Israel cause." This was sent in the context of a platforming dispute regarding Tucker Carlson. From this scintilla of misleading information, it was speculated that Israel killed Charlie Kirk because he would have successfully opposed the Iranian war. Now, that's a fun theory, and who doesn't like a good, fun conspiracy theory? I like them. But there is no evidence that Israel actually killed Charlie Kirk. And if Candace has some, I'd like her to actually show it to me. I'm open to suggestions, but to date, there hasn't been any.
Hold on, let's let the guy in here right here. Andrew, what's going on, man? Can you hear us okay?
All right, maybe I can hear you guys now. I'm hoping.
Yeah,
What's going on, man?
Good.
What's that?
You
hear
good?
us?
Oh, you dropped out. Damn it.
All right, we'll figure it out, guys. I promise you. If Andrew jumps back on, we'll sit there and talk about this real quick.
That's what you get for not getting up in the morning, Mike.
Rolo, somebody said we look biased. I'm like, no shit.
Do we?
I want to say something before. I'll bring this up. I'll bring this up to Andrew if he comes back on. This is kind of a similar thing, and I'm going to use this strange analogy. I debate a lot of like anti-evolution. Here we go. Here, my man is on here real quick.
All right. Now I can kind of hear you guys. What's up, guys?
Hey.
Man.
Thanks for coming.
Tell me how you felt before and after. Just how you felt with preparation, because I know you put a lot of work into preparation. How did you feel before? What did you want to get through, and then how did you feel right after?
Yeah, so the main thing was these guys framed this up like I was there to defend all of the state's evidence. Well, that's not it. I was only there to defend that I thought that the evidence that was there showed pretty, at least convincingly that Robinson was likely the shooter. The main thing was, what's that?
You didn't bring this up. There's his DNA on the fucking bullets.
Yeah, I'm aware, but here's the thing. None of that even matters. That was never the goal. Good. How are you? Yeah. It's nice to meet you. Sorry, man. I'm on a call at the moment. Sorry, guys. Anyway, the point was to get to her claims. I didn't give a shit about anything else. It was to get to her claims and demonstrate to the world there's no evidence for any of the bullshit, and that's exactly what I did.
Yeah, that was awesome, man. And then why was it so early in the morning?
What's that?
Why was it so early in the morning? It was the earliest debate I've ever
seen.
That
pissed me off. So that was PBD and her. They wanted to do it super early. And I was like, man, I work at night. Like I usually don't get up before noon. And I've been working night shifts my whole life, by the way. Like I worked third shift my whole life. So like this is nothing new. I've always streamed at night. So what we compromised on, the latest I could get was 10. And I was just like, fine, whatever. The most important thing to me was just get in the room, show the world there is no evidence for these insane claims that this woman is postulating every single day to these Zoloft popping wine moms. That's the main goal, right? Just prove it, show it, give us the evidence. The whole world's watching. Where is it? They got nothing.
Yeah.
One other thing I do want to point out is the one piece of evidence she tried to bring was the idea of his DNA being degraded. The actual examiner who pointed out that his DNA was degraded also stated that that does not mean that he handled the weapon first or last. So I've seen some people try to act like that was a gotcha on her point. That is not scientifically, that is not correct.
Well, not only that, there was another problem with that. We were waiting for the fact check to come up. They didn't allow us to pull the fact check up on that. So our fact checkers did pull that up so that I could read it off. But we only got to pull up 4 of the fact checks. And that was PBD's choice, is what I was told later. I'm not putting that on Candace, to be fair. But it was PBD's choice to only pull up X amount of fact checks. But that was a fact check that we had requested be pulled up so that I could point this out on the DNA evidence. And it just never came. So we ended up moving off of that topic. But remember, that was her cross-exam. So that you guys understand, when Candace sat down she said, and remember, I was supposed to get as much time as I wanted to question her, right? The first thing she said when she sat down is, "Come on, Candace, you can do this for 3.5 hours." And I was like, so that's all I'm going to get is 3.5 hours. So when her hour and a half was done, I was like, we're not doing this anymore. We're going right over to my claims, because otherwise I won't get any time. I just won't get any.
Yeah. Was there anything that you'd probably want to clarify now, like a point where, because it felt like there was a lot of gish gallop where she was just going over one thing after another after another. Is there anything you look back and you're like, hey, I wish that I had clarified this, or it seemed like she was trying to make this point, but it was really misleading?
The main thing that I would focus on was that my objective, and I only had one, was to demonstrate, and I demonstrated it well. This was probably the most viewed debate of this year, maybe the most viewed debate of the year, was that these lunatics, they have conjectured up a complete fantasy, and they not only know it's a fantasy, but they have none, zero, zilch evidence for any of it. And that's all that needed to be demonstrated. If you want to argue about the merits of the case with an attorney, go ahead. You want to argue about the trivialities? Go ahead. I don't care. I want to hear about if really there's an exploding microphone. Let's get into that. If really Israel killed Charlie Kirk along with France and the French Foreign Legion, let's hear it. Let's see some shit. Let's see it.
Yeah.
And what I got was a whole lot of concessions. Here's the thing that got me the most, fellas, and I'll give you the tidbit before my stream. The thing that actually made the debate in the second half more difficult for me was that I was not expecting her to just concede everything.
Concede everything, yes.
She literally conceded everything, and I was like, I remember we went to the break, and I was like, where the hell do I even go from here? She conceded she had no evidence for anything. And she didn't know she was conceding it, which was hilarious, but she did concede it.
One thing I did notice was that you did point out the claims that she made on her show were definitive. And then when she gets on the show and she's doing a debate with you, then all of a sudden she's just asking questions. I did notice.
Yeah, she ran away. Yeah, she ran away from almost every claim that she made, which is why we reinforced all of them with clips and demonstrated that, no, she makes these definitively. You ran away from all of them. And even massive news networks are now picking this up and showing that, hey, this chick had never had anything. She had the steakhouse thing was hilarious. Like the steakhouse receipt was hilarious. She just never had anything. Their only cope was that I had a brain fart right at the end on the, what was he charged with? But it was tangential. It was meaningless. Ultimately, my claim wasn't that I was an expert on the case, only that I was convinced by the evidence of the case. And I remember I rightly pointed out that she didn't know that Robinson himself had said he was in the surveillance. And she's supposedly the case expert. So if that's a got you, then she got you worse. But guys, my phone's about to die. I'm at 3%. I just wanted to call in. I love you guys over there. You got a great podcast. It's nice to see both of you, Rolo and Sartain. Mostly Rolo, not you, Sartain. You're scum. So anyway, you guys have a great night.
You too,
man. Brother, man. Talk to you soon, brother. Take care.
See ya.
That's great.
I think it's funny. It's like in the aftermath of all of this. Now, I watched this in the morning while you were still, I don't know, sleeping or doing with 2 women or 10 women. I don't know. But like, I was actually doing my homework right when this was going. I was doing what I'm supposed to do. But I thought it was interesting that the two countries that are supposed to be involved in all of this are Israel and France. The 2 countries she has the most problems with. Yeah. It's not like Liechtenstein and Estonia or something like that. It's got to be those 2, because Macron and his wife have to be involved somehow too. And I'm just like, oh, how? I don't know.
I do want to go over one thing.
26.
Because one of the things I wanted to do, I wish I could have been a fact checker there. One of the other things that Andrew brought up briefly. In the U.S. military, when we fire, a lot of times when we test weapons, we fire at berms. We use what's called frangible ammo, and this is ammo that can disintegrate. Now, this ammo is hard to get sometimes, but it can disintegrate. There's also different types of ammo that can disintegrate. Candace's claim, which was specious, this idea that because of the velocity of the weapon, therefore there's no way it would have hit the chicken bones, as she said, of his neck and his spine and his clavicle. His clavicle, his scapula. In that case, and part of his spine was missing, that they said in the autopsy afterwards. That is actually, I looked it up. About 1 in 5 shooting cases with rifle rounds, the actual round is not identifiable. So one of the cases that you see a lot of these people say they were not able to match the round to the weapon. That happens about, on estimation, about 20% of times in criminal cases when they try to find that. Because and a lot of people just don't understand basic physics. When I'm firing a bullet out of a gun, I'm going maybe 900 feet per second. In this case, this gun in particular, we're going about 2,700 feet per second. And so the bullet, it's also pointed. The bullet, when it hits an object, it's hitting with so much force, it's going to destroy the object it's hitting, but it's also going to destroy itself. I mean, we can even see this in JFK. We've seen deformed bullets that happen all the time. So the idea that the bullet was not identified because of you couldn't match the striations from the barrel to the bullet. This is just, this is what's called a specious argument. It's something that seems like it could be true, but it isn't. It's actually misleading. It's actually pretty common for this to happen. So the idea, it actually depends on the quality or the make of the actual slug, to the rifle round, to determine whether or not it would have disintegrated or at least been deformed enough to not be able to be identified. So this is another very specious claim, along with the idea that because the DNA was degraded, therefore that means he touched it first. No, there is no scientific evidence stating that degraded DNA, which could happen because of heat and humidity. And Andrew's point, again, is the same point. It's always been the same point. It's not that what she's saying, she has no evidence to support what she's saying. She brings up what she called, actually, I'm going to get off my soapbox right after this. There's 3 points of evidence. They're not really points of evidence, but there's 3 things you can bring up. One of them is proof. Proof is I just saw the person with my own eyes. Proof is I know gravity is real because I threw something off a balcony. That's proof. Proof is I try something a million times. It works every single time. That's proof. Okay. Then there's evidence. You can have different pieces of evidence that can lead to a conclusion, but that piece of evidence is not in itself proof, because the piece of evidence only has one perspective. So, for instance, the idea, yes, you were at the house at the time of the murder. That's evidence, but that isn't proof that you committed the murder. Okay. Then there's another thing called data points. Data points are, would be below evidence. A data point would be like, well, isn't it funny? I get this with flat earthers a lot. Isn't it funny that the map for the EU, or not the EU, what's it called? United Nations is the same as the flat earth map. That's a data point. That is not even evidence. There's nothing, right? And then there's the last part, which is conjecture. Candace lives in conjecture. Candace lives in this ocean of conjecture. Defines her. Calls it evidence and proof. I just want to make sure, like, if you guys want to explain the whole debate away, Candace lives in a debate of conjecture, and then she explains it like it is proof or evidence when she's on her show. When she's not on her show, then she does a little shrug emoji. I'm just asking questions, guys. I'm just asking questions. That's not how debate works. I've had guys do this before, where they'll come and we'll have 3 debate points, and they'll say something, whatever the debate point is, such and such happened at such and such time. And then later on, they'll be like, I'm just asking evidence. No. Not debate. A debate, you don't get to do that. In a debate, you took that position, so now you have to defend that position. What Candace did is, whenever she couldn't defend the position, she did the shrug and she goes, I'm just asking questions. Anyway, we're going too far into this. Is there anything else you want to go over, Rolo?
I was going to say there was this technique that was used it was back in like the early 2000s by like a lot of the Fox News hosts, and they would say, some say, and then they would make their statement, right? It's basically it's a logical fallacy. It's an appeal to like popularity, right? And I see a lot of quote unquote debaters using exactly that same thing. Now it's just saying, now it's like what we were saying just more. I'm just making an argument here. I'm just saying something, right? With the shoulder shrug. It's the same principle. It's literally a logical fallacy. People don't know that they're doing it because so many people do it so often.
Yep. All right, let's get back into this. There's so many things to go over here. Let's keep up with this.
There is, however, tons of evidence that a leftist killed Charlie Kirk, just as Charlie feared they would. I believe Charlie Kirk, and I have the receipts. No, I didn't have a dream where he came to me and told me that the left killed him.
Regardless of what you guys think about Candace and her evidence or lack of evidence, she did say that. She said, Charlie Kirk came to me in a dream, and that resonated with her audience, which tells you about her audience. It's such a strange thing to say.
No, he didn't come to me in a dream and say, Candace Owens betrayed him. That never happened. In fact, I don't need dreams of any kind because I hold in my possession never before seen messages from Charlie Kirk to his security team on September 9th, 2025. I'm going to share the message with you today, which is the first time this information's ever been publicly revealed. On September 9th, Charlie's security team wrote to him, yes, law enforcement has been fully supportive and agreed to a security plan and posture. Tomorrow's event will be covered by both my team and the campus PD. If additional support is required, patrol units will be available. I have 11 on site. Charlie responded with this, okay, great. Remind them that they are there for one person's security only, because I'm somewhat worried the left is trying to kill me. That was a message sent September 9th. Whatever could he have meant by that? Well, I think he meant exactly what he said, that he was worried the left was going to try to kill him. Now, we'll discuss this more later on in the debate, and maybe I have more never before seen evidence that exposes just how wrong and, in my opinion, idiotic many of these conspiracy theories have been. But that's what happens when you rely on what's called the evidence of the gaps. In other words, they don't have evidence, they seem to just make up evidence. And what did they make up? Well, in my opinion, kind of whatever lined the pockets. And I think it's ghoulish to profit off of the death of a good man. But we came here today to debate, and so let's get to it. The debate topic today is 1, my belief that there's overwhelming evidence that Tyler Robinson killed Charlie Kirk, and 2, Candace's belief that there's overwhelming evidence that Tyler Robinson was a patsy and didn't kill Charlie Kirk. In sum, the audience is going to decide who has more evidence supporting their theory. My theory is that the state is correct that Tyler Robinson is the killer, at least based on evidence so far, and Candace's theory that Tyler Robinson is not the killer and he's a patsy set up by the feds.
One other thing I want to go over this because in case Rolo, a lot of people might not be aware of this. So Tyler Robinson was in a relationship with a boy who was transitioning from being a biological male to a trans female. Without getting us in too much trouble, that was kind of enough for me. Like I just don't understand why that is like. We're like, well, that's not really motive. It was so crazy hearing Candace say that's not really motive. Like, if you read the text messages, it was very clear that he did not like Charlie Kirk because of the fact that Charlie Kirk, like, in fact, I want to say this. I'm not saying that all trans people, LGBT people are assassins. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is, if you are a trans or LGBT person and you're angry at people who are anti-trans or anti-LGBT, who was the face of that movement when Charlie Kirk died? It was Charlie Kirk. Yes. So the idea that this isn't a motive is maddening to me. And I honestly, I swear to God, if Candace Owens had some way to blame the Jews and the gays at the same time, she would have figured out a way to do it. But she could only pick one, and And so that's essentially what she did. Like, if you read the messages, I just don't understand the idea that a kid who was, I'm sorry, I'm just going to call him a homosexual. He was in love with another man, biological man. And then that person was trans. And then you're trying to tell me that's, I'm not shaming him for that, but you're saying that's not the motivation for him to do this. That is wild to me. That is wild to me that you think that this is so confusing. I don't understand.
Well, what gets me is there have been, since the death of Charlie Kirk, since the assassination of Charlie Kirk, the murder of Charlie Kirk, there have been at least, by my memory, I don't know if there might be 4, but I can think of at least 3 mass shooting events that have been perpetrated by a militant faction of transgender individuals, right? And the reason I say that is because, as you know, I'm pretty sensitive to people wanting to sort of wipe off mass shooting events on incels, and how much. And you and I have done show after show about this, how it's really, incels are not, potentially violent people, but apparently the people that, or the faction or whatever, the part of society that they should have been doing research on, apparently appears to be transgender individuals, right? And so is it so much of a stretch to think that the guy who was involved with a transgender boyfriend, girl, I don't even know what to call it, right? Would have done something like this as a part of being part of that group. Now again, that's conjecture. I'm not saying that's how things
yeah, exactly. It's conjecture.
Why is it so hard to believe?
That's my point.
couldn't be
exactly
it.
Right.
We still have, but every time there is a trans shooter, everybody goes, "Oh, of course." Right.
Yeah.
But,
so here's my point.
But you think it's the Jews or the French or whoever Candace says it is, just out of hand.
I think it's a massive, I think it's a massive leap to say because they're LBGT, then they're a shooter. That is not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is
there's a militant faction to that.
I think even that's a bridge too far. Even I think that's a bridge too far. Here's the thing you can defend. What you can say is, if this person who was a supporter of LGBT was angry at anti-LGBT individuals, Charlie Kirk is the Osama bin Laden of that. That was my point. At that point in time, I'm not saying he was even really that hateful towards trans people. It's just that his clips where he was debunking trans ideology went more viral than anyone else's clips at the time of his death. I don't think anybody would dispute that. He was, as far as dunking on people at college campuses going back and forward, and you see Myron's doing a little bit of this now. As far as that's concerned, Myron was the leader in the clubhouse at the point of his death. He was the leader in the clubhouse in that. So what I'm saying is, if that was a possible motive to choose, then it makes more sense that this person who was kind of like, again, the Osama bin Laden of the anti-trans community, he's there, he's in front of you, you're in Utah, he's in Utah. That's the point. This idea of what I said, I'm not saying this proves he's guilty. What I'm saying is the idea that what I just stated is so out of bounds. It's like talking about aliens or something. No, a gay man who had a trans boyfriend, didn't like Charlie Kirk and shot him, is not like, it's not some ridiculous stretch of the imagination. It really isn't. Now, if you want to say, well, Israel assassinating him isn't either. I don't know. I don't know what that benefits Israel. I'm just going to be honest with you. I really don't know how that benefits it. I know some people are going to be like, you're a patsy, Mike. No. I question whether or not Israel should be in Gaza right now. I do. I question whether or not some of the military actions we've taken in this country in the last 30 years, I question the motivations of them. I'm not that guy. Don't come after me for that. What I am saying, though, in this particular case, I don't know how killing Charlie Kirk, because of all the issues, there's so many other guys. Why not go after Tucker Carlson? Why is he still alive? You know what I'm saying? Like, there's a bunch of other guys. Well, like, do you understand? It's not that hard. You see people literally going up and shoving Nick Fuentes. You really think that it's like Charlie Kirk? If it's anti-trans, I'm putting Charlie Kirk. He's like up here. He's first team All-American. If it's anti-Israel, Charlie Kirk is like not. Do you understand what I'm saying? He's not. He might be an above replacement level player, but he's not an all pro.
There are guys with bigger targets on them than Charlie Kirk.
With bigger targets on their back. If you're anti-Israel, I'm not trying to get into this conversation, but if you're anti-Israel, there's other people besides Charlie Kirk to go after that are more that you could get after before Charlie Kirk. If you're anti-trans, Charlie Kirk is he's the Tiger Woods leading, every single tournament. He's first in the clubhouse every time. So that's why I'm saying I'm not telling you that this is 100% the reason why this happened. What I'm saying is the idea that motivation is so crazy to you. What are you watching? Where have you been in the last decade? Anyway, let's keep going.
To be clear, this is not.
And just to be clear, we're not going through the whole thing. We're just going to go through the intro for both.
Yeah.
I've got some clips, and then we're going to go through the outro. That's it. It should not take that long.
Question of reasonable doubt. If it was reasonable doubt, and that's all it was, and that's all Candace was proffering, I wouldn't even be here having the debate with her. It's fair to have doubts, as a trial has yet to occur, and the state hasn't even begun to try to prove their case beyond a reasonable doubt. But Candace makes a more forceful claim. She claims that there's more evidence that Tyler is not guilty of murder and was set up as a patsy than there is for the state's case. And I just think that that's absurd. And she will not be able to demonstrate that in any way. In fact, she has almost no real evidence at all of her theory, whereas my theory is supported by compelling witness testimony, physical evidence, multiple confessions, all of which are independently compelling, but which are even more convincing as each piece of evidence corroborates the others. You'll notice the term overwhelming was included in both theories. This is because Candace demanded I defend my use of that term, which I think is fair, in describing the evidence against Tyler Robinson. She, on the other hand, only wanted to defend her theory as merely viable. That is, until I showed her clips in which she said she believed the evidence of her theory.
There you go. What he just described is the whole entire debate. She claimed that, hey, what I was saying was viable. And then he showed her own clips where she's saying definitively that Erica Kirk is responsible for part of this. France and Israel is responsible for part of this. And Tyler Robinson 100% did not do this. So it's one of these things where you know, you like a dude is talking shit to you in the yard, and then you go up and you face him face to face, and then all of a sudden he kind of backs down and he goes, "Hey man, I was just screwing around." No, keep that same energy. Like what he was asking for Candace was keep the same energy that you have on your show, keep that same energy with me right now during this debate. And Candace did not do that. Candace actually was like, "I'm just asking questions." No. Then don't. If Candace is like, "I'm not really sure what happened and I'm just asking questions and I don't really have any evidence to support what I'm saying," then it just looks like you took $300,000. It looks like you just took $300,000. Do you see what I'm saying? It looks like, look, where's the opposing debate points? I understand why you want to question some of these things. One of the strangest questions I thought she asked was this confession. It looked too confession-y. The confession looked too good. That's not. Do you guys understand? Please, I'm just asking you. I know how much you guys love Candace Owens. The idea that the confession was too good or too convenient is not evidence. Look up the word, please. Like before this gets out of hand and you start losing your mind. The idea that a confession is too convenient or it's written too well is not evidence of anything. It is conjecture at best. And in this case, it isn't even really conjecture. It's just her conjecture. It's her opinion. It isn't even a data point. It's just her conjecture. That's all it is. And for those of you who are like, well, she said it, so I'm convinced. You have the right to be convinced. In fact, Rolo and I are not saying you shouldn't be convinced. Be convinced of whatever you want. But understand that you are convinced in spite of the evidence showing that Tyler Robinson did indeed kill Charlie Kirk. You can be convinced of anything you want. It's a free country.
That Tyler Robinson's a patsy was supported by overwhelming evidence. Only then did she agree to defend that position. Regardless, we're both defending the claim that there's overwhelming evidence on our side, so it's worth defining that term. When I say the evidence against Robinson's overwhelming, all I'm saying is that I mean that as of right now, I find it very convincing. I see almost no evidence at all, only speculation on verified claims and suggestions of things that could merely be hypothetically possible. Dreams, vibes, feelings, things like this. Almost done, by the way. I have no problem defending the state's case and welcome Candace bringing up any challenges she would like. But if I'm honest, the reason I was willing to pay the $300,000 for this debate was to finally have a chance for someone to demand Candace be held accountable for the unbelievable theories and claims she's been making. Candace's investigation is indistinguishable from a leftist operation. She couldn't be doing more damage to the right if she were trying. She uses her considerable platform to relentlessly attack one of the most influential conservative outreach organizations for young people. And she's making a mockery of the online right-wing commentary class. She's harming Republicans in an election year by dividing them. She's attacking the very organization Charlie spent his life building. And she's attacking the people he loved, including his wife. And it cost me $300,000. But today, I hope that she finally answers for some of that.
Okay, I want to say a couple things because I'm reading the chat. And some of you guys, I don't know if you have brain damage or what the whole deal is. Number one, I already answered this. The amount of joules or force that is produced from the rifle is a separate argument from the fact that the round can be disintegrated. Don't ask me. Just look at it's so crazy. Like these people who keep making these assertions are like, there's no way that the bullet would have disintegrated. Yes, there is. There's tons of evidence to show that it could be disintegrated. That's the first thing. And then the second one was, oh God, what was the other one? There was another, there was another one that somebody made, another ridiculous claim. But yeah, so Tyler did this all by himself. What was it? Oh God, where is it? Oh, I lost it. Okay, cool. Yeah, Tyler did it. No help, right? Tyler Robinson. He looks like a real. Okay, here we go. This is one right here. I want to show you this because I want to display a little bit more ignorance. Yeah, that Tyler did it. No help, right? Haha. By the way, it's RIGHT. You can actually spell check these before you do that. I promise you they'll let you do that. Tyler Robinson looks like a real man who can become a sniper just like that. Right. Okay. So let's go over something real quick. Okay. Tyler Robinson was aiming for what? What was he aiming for, Robert?
For Charlie.
No,
probably
Charlie. Let's be more specific. Let's get down to
probably his head. Probably his head.
Probably his head. Probably his head. Mm-hmm. What were they aiming for in Pennsylvania with Trump? What was he aiming for?
Well, yeah, exactly his head, because remember, clipped by the ear.
So when you are firing and you want to kill someone, like definitively kill someone, you are going for center mass of the skull.
Mm-hmm.
Tyler Robinson missed. He missed. Yeah. You guys are kind of like, oh, he was incredible. He was incredible. He was a sniper. Yeah, you're saying that he was a sniper. No, bro, he missed. It actually proves my point. Nobody is firing deliberately to hit the left side of the neck. There's a chance. I know it's a small chance. There's a chance it just hits flesh, comes out, and they're able to stop the blood. It's a very small chance, by the way. He's most likely going to die. But in order to ensure brain death and to ensure death, you go center mass for the head, which tells me that Tyler Robinson probably didn't establish bullet drop, because I think bullet drop at 140 yards. By the way, somebody else said this is not a good space for us, me and Rolo, to talk. Motherfucker, I was in the military and I study physics and I debate for a living. So you can keep your stupid fucking opinions to yourself. The bullet drop would have been 5 inches at that not 5 inches. I have to go back and look exactly how many inches, but there would have been a bullet drop. So he aims here and he hits here. He missed. I'm getting here so you guys can hear me say it again. He missed.
Put the glasses on.
He's a sniper. You're trying to say he's a sniper. He missed, bitch. He missed. He wasn't aiming for the guy's left side of his neck. He was aiming for center mass of his head. Whoever it was, whichever ghost organization, alien species, fucking energy weapon, or Israeli operative you think shot him, he missed. There's no one is going to tell you. I don't care if it's Robert O'Neill, whoever is going to tell you that it was deliberate to shoot him on the left side. Why? Okay, ready? You know what else you can do? Shoot him through the middle of the neck. Get the trachea, get the spinal column. That's about 99% chance of death, but he shot him off to the side because he missed. Because he missed. Okay, one other thing, I'm gonna open this up. I was gonna end this after like 90 minutes. Fuck that. You guys are sitting there talking trash I'm not Candace Owens. I'm not running for you. What we're gonna do is we're gonna cut off at the end of this. We're gonna cut off YouTube, and all you people talking this trash about how stupid we are. You're welcome to come on. I'll do Twitter. I'm gonna do Rumble, Kick, and X, and I will be glad for free. You don't have to pay me $300,000. I will beat the shit out of you and embarrass you live on fucking Rumble and Kick anytime you want. I'm not even saying Tyler Robinson killed Charlie Kirk. What I'm saying is the evidence right now shows that he did. And the idea that this specious woman comes out there and says, what are the chances that Tyler Robinson killed Charlie Kirk? I think it's 0%. Bro, you have been kicked in the head. Bro, by bro, I mean you, Candace Owens.
Thank you, Andrew. Candace?
Did you get it out of your system?
I did.
Okay, great. Well, I'm not going to waste time with the preamble because I think I just want to get to the subject.
Get it out of your system one more time, bro. Like, she thinks she's intimidating someone. And by the way, one other thing I want to point out. Andrew Wilson, he was tapping his leg because he was nervous. He was nervous. He was nervous. Bro, do you understand how early in the morning? I wake up at noon or 11 a.m. at like the earliest. I work nights. The idea that you want me to get up at fucking 7 o'clock in the morning to do this. Do you have any idea how much caffeine I would be on? I would be on 200 milligrams, 300 milligrams of caffeine. I'm surprised he wasn't jumping up and down. I promise you he was drinking a shit ton of caffeine before this happened.
And I will just speak to the audience. I've obviously had an audience since we've been covering this case. People know that there was a personal friendship between me and Charlie, and diminishing the pursuit of something that makes sense regarding what happened on September 10th. By throwing it to, this is just people who are conspiracy theorists. These are people who are just trying to generate clicks. I don't think that people should be satisfied by that. I don't
think people should be satisfied the fact that you needed to make this about you. That is, by the way, for those of you who don't know, that is all this is. Candace Owens has taken this opportunity to make this about her, because she had a friendship with him, to make it about her. Remember
that it's important to think we've been lied to by the government a great many times over just the last couple of years, if you just think of the things that we've learned about our government. And I do want to say this, what's been the most disturbing element, I think, for everyone is that not only does the narrative not make any sense, which I'm going to demonstrate, I need to waste time with the preamble going through the points or trying
Okay, one more time. For those of you who are like, no, Candace won. She said, I'm going to demonstrate. She said in the beginning of this debate, I got her on camera here saying, I'm going to demonstrate this makes no sense. Whatever you want to say about what she said previously on her show, during this debate, she did not meet that burden. She did not in any way make the whole thing not make sense. Her pieces of evidence were that might not have been him on camera. The DNA was degraded, but it was still his DNA. Those are the pieces of evidence. Well, the confession looked too convincing. That's what she considered. From those things, she's trying to tell us that she made it seem like this made no sense. I can understand for her having doubt, There's a big difference between doubt and saying this made no sense. She did not meet that burden of proof in any way.
Insult you or pretending that I've been running the podcast saying it's just dreams and vibes, like I'm Miss Cleo, and that's the reason why it's taking so many influencers. It looks like
no, but it is one of the things you did say. You did say
Miss Cleo.
You did. I'm not saying it's the only reason, but it is. She did say it.
$1 industry of influencers to dispute everything Candace says is not because I'm on my platform saying I had a dream last night. I don't think I think that diminishes you as an argument. Obviously, we have presented a lot of evidence. You just presented a text message and said this is evidence. Well, that's how this entire thing began. You're talking about how Israel got into the conversation. It was because immediately after Charlie died, one of the first things we saw was this push to make us all think and remember how much he loved Israel. It's because the prime minister of Israel, who's fighting like a 27 front war, felt that he needed to come do a little mini tour and to be strangely to state that I did not kill Charlie Kirk when nobody was having that thought that I can remember.
Wait, hold on. Nobody was having that thought? Again, guys, I thought it was dumb as shit for Benjamin Netanyahu to make that video talking about we didn't kill Charlie Kirk, but I know why he made it. This is ridiculous, like utter. I wish somebody would just do a fact check on this. Nobody blamed Israel. People were blaming Israel 30 seconds after he was shot, bro. You are out of your mind. I'm not even saying Tyler Robinson killed him for sure. I'm not even saying that. But the idea that she's saying, well, he made that video and nobody was thinking that. What the fuck are you talking about?
Nobody was going, I wonder if Bibi Netanyahu killed Charlie Kirk.
Yes, they were. People were constantly saying that.
And then we had a round of influencers who lied.
Like literally saying that. That the idea that she said that no one was saying that. Again, it's a stupid thing. Obviously, if I'm Benjamin Netanyahu, I'm the leader of a country. I'm not going to respond to something like this. It's ridiculous. It was a very stupid move on him to do that. But regardless, it was just ridiculous.
And said Charlie was not changing on Israel, that he wasn't having any disagreements regarding that topic, that the day he died, he just loved Israel so much. And I demonstrated via a text message, which you just mentioned, and you're now contextualizing and pretending it was just about Tucker Carlson, which is not true. It was a part of a broader shift that Charlie was having.
Again, so it could be part of a discussion about Tucker Carlson and be part of a broader shift. And Charlie could have had a broader shift. But the broader shift is not, ready, wait for it. I'm going to use the word again because it's going to hurt some of your ears. The broader shift is not evidence that anything happened. It's I'm gonna do right here, conjecture. It's not evidence, it's conjecture. What she's doing, and I wonder, honestly, if Candace Owens actually watches like moon landing deniers and flat earthers to like come up with some of these ideas, because her argument style is exactly the same as theirs. She uses exactly the flat earth argument style.
Last, I would say, actually, on your show, it began since October 7th, which is when I began asking myself more questions about Israel as well. And so, yeah, when all of these things happen in the immediate aftermath, and then I drop a text message after everyone is denying that, Tucker Carlson then comes out and confirms the conversations that he had with Charlie. Megyn Kelly then comes out and confirms the private conversations that she had with Charlie. People then begin to ask a reasonable question, which is, why are we lying about this? If they were forthcoming with that and they had said, hey, yeah, Charlie was starting.
She used the word lying. She does not know, neither does anyone else, what Charlie Kirk in his heart of hearts believed about Israel or didn't believe, because I've seen evidence to both sides. No matter what you guys say. And by the way, why am I even bringing this up? I don't care. That doesn't change what Tyler Robinson did not do.
To ask questions. I think after October 7th, it's reasonable that people are starting to re-examine our relationship with Israel. We wouldn't be here today. But it has been lie after lie after lie, debunk after debunk after debunk. Yes, I did share that I had a dream that Charlie was betrayed. It's not a dream anymore. It's a reality. I look at what the organization has become, the people that they are partnering with, the lies that they are telling.
Let's do that part again. For those of you who are like, hey, I'm just asking questions.
After debunk. Yes, I did share that I had a dream that Charlie was betrayed. It's not a dream anymore. It's a reality.
What did she say?
Well,
it's a reality.
I'm
just asking questions, though. I'm just asking questions. It's not a dream anymore. It's a reality. A little bit of Candace Owens on her home turf came out there. She's the dude who likes to talk shit in class, and then once you get out in school and you guys are face to face, then they're like, "Yo, bro, I was just kidding. I was just screwing around." She doesn't keep the same energy on her show. She didn't bring it to this debate because she can't, because she understands in a debate she loses. In a format or an arena of feelings then she wins.
I look at what the organization has become, the people that they are partnering with, the lies that they are telling, the extraordinary people that they're sending out to say, I hadn't speak to Charlie since 2018, and it begins to look like a conspiracy. And just as a historical fact, that entire term was created by the CIA to gaslight people after the assassination.
Okay, so do you guys even need me to fact check this or not? The idea that the word conspiracy was invented by the CIA after it was the OSS became the CIA in 1947. Really, does anyone want me to fact check this? Because I will if you want. Do you understand how stupid this is? The idea that the ideas of conspiracy or conspiracy theorists was invented by the CIA. You guys know better than this, right? You know that what she's saying is not true, right? Or do you really need me to fact check this?
Of JFK. So it's not exactly one that makes me nervous. Like calling somebody a conspiracy theorist is essentially saying.
Why would it make you nervous? It made you rich.
That they demand further answers. They're not accepting the Fed's law. So I'm grateful that you came today. I don't need to, like I said, take cheap shots and discuss your manner of debate or your strategy. And I'm also grateful that you shared.
Okay, real quick. Michael, you're out of your depth discussing this. So I'm going to help you out here real quick because I understand. I'm just going to assume you just don't know and not assume that you're just a fucking idiot. Number one, I served 7 years in the United States military. 5 of them, I flew special ops. The other 2, I did counterintelligence. I also have a lot of firearms experience when it comes to this, and I have a lot of experience when it comes to physics. And I also am a professional debater. You are out of your depth as a YouTube commenter. I don't realistically, if you guys want to know why I take these on, I have a background in astrophysics as well. That's why I have these discussions. For those of you who just see me on my social media and you think that you understand what I do and do not know, no, you are wrong. And because you're wrong, your response is to say that we're out of our depth having this conversation. Well, I'm going to give you an opportunity. After this, I'm going to put the link in the chat for StreamYard, and you guys can come on and you can embarrass me and let me know how out of my depth I am. Or you can just keep making YouTube comments like you're going to keep making and not show up at all because that's what you've been doing your whole life. That's why you're a failure in life, because that's all you can do is make YouTube comments. So continue to make them or come on and have a debate with me.
Anyone who has heard me talk about, I have an essay. I just put the link in the chat here just a moment ago. I have an essay. You can read it for free. It's on my Substack, but it's a free article. But it's called The Death of Debate. And the reason why I wrote that is because when I see things that are quote unquote fucking debates right now, they're not fucking debates.
Yes.
This is something else. This is like, okay, if you can tell me, like, if you think I am out of my depth, like Mike can vouch for himself. If you think I'm out of my depth, then please tell me the difference between classical debate, modern debate, and postmodern debate, and then where the fuck we are right now, because it's none of those three.
Yes. When we disagree with you, then we're out of our depth. That's essentially what's going on. One more time, I said this before.
I'm college educated. I took logic classes. I was not on a debate team, but I did take formal debate. I know the difference between logical fallacies and all the shit. I know forms of debate. That's one of the reasons why I have talked. Literally, I've had this conversation at Roll and Smoke fucking barbecue with Andrew saying, look, what we're doing is debate right now. Because I was talking to him about his word war debate. Like it's like professional wrestling. You know, they have somebody walk in and they're like, yeah, it's the Undertaker. Right? I'm like, that's not debate. And what they're doing here is not debate. You know what they're doing? Yes. You're a liar. No, you're a liar. No, you're a liar.
No. One person is trying to debate. I disagree. I think Andrew was trying to debate.
Yeah, well, I think he was definitely trying to stick to the facts. He's trying to stick to evidentiary stuff because I think he knew that that's how he was going to come out of this on top, and I believe that he did. But the thing is for the most part, I mean, when you see Andrew on whatever podcast and he's debating feminists, that's a whole different Andrew than the guy that's in this. That's you're sitting there with PBD in them, right? It is the way that debate has sort of degraded into what it's like it's professional wrestling right now. It's really a team sport. And that's kind of the point I wanted to make in all of this is like at the end of the day, at the end of this whole thing, it's not even like if you're on team Candace won. If you're on team Andrew won, right? But you know what? Guess what? I'm not Jewish. And I know that Mike's not Jewish, but guess what? Now we're both Jewish. because we happen to say Candace is wrong about these particular things. That's all this fucking thing is
by the way,
you on team Jew or are you on team not Jew? That's I don't even know what either team of those teams are. But you know about the divide that's going on between the conservative side of things right now. Trust me, divide and conquer. That's exactly what is happening right now. They want you split, especially in an election where we're in a midterm election year right now. They want the right wing split, and guess what? They win. We just did it right now. Yeah. So here we go.
A couple of things. The people who are calling us biased. Number one, I want to point this out. I just said at the beginning, I think that Andrew Wilson's a great debater. I also think that Destiny is a great debater. I was watching some old Joe Biden before he, lost his mind. Some early Joe Biden stuff. He was actually really, really good at debate. People don't have to agree with me for me to think that they're good at debate. That is not a bias I have. Where I have a bias is when we're in a situation and all of a sudden, so debate is not about emotion. Debate is about actually having, debate is actually bringing up facts. The problem is with debate is when you bring up conjecture and then you mistake conjecture for facts or proof or evidence when it's just conjecture. And that's the part I keep pointing out here. Because I'm saying things you don't agree with, then your response is to try to tell me that I don't know what I'm talking about. That's fine. You have that opinion. But here's the thing. I don't want to argue with your opinion. I want you to come on live so I can curb stomp you. That's essentially what I want to do. So, and I'm going to ask you guys to do that here in a little bit. Once we're done with this, come on and let's try to get through this. We haven't even got to the clip. So let's try to get through this as quickly as we can.
A text message today, because everybody watching knows that I have been demanding not a debate, just an open conversation with Turning Point USA. They should be here. It shouldn't be you in that chair. It should be the person that took Charlie's place. Maybe Erica Kirk, maybe Andrew Colbert. He's a spokesperson.
So let me explain this to you as well. This is something, and by the way, I've actually had to call, I've called Rolo out on this as well. Sometimes we yell at academics on Twitter. Those academics are academics. They're not debaters. Okay. Rolo debates. I debate a lot. So for instance, I'll give you an example. If you were to take a flat earther versus like versus a regular physicist, the flat earther would win the debate every time you put a flat earther against a physicist, unless it's Professor Dave, the physicist is always going to lose, because the flat earther understands specious techniques in debate to win the debate, but not the facts. So this is the part that we need to understand. I don't know who Turning Point USA wanted to put up against Candace Owens. What I do know is that Candace Owens is a talking head. She's there for debate, or in her case, she's there for conjecture. If Candace Owens wanted Andrew Wilson to stand up for them and be their advocate, this is also the reason you don't defend yourself in a murder trial. You hire an attorney. Your attorney is a litigator. The litigator is there for debate in jurisprudence. That's what they're there for. In this case, I think Turning Point USA should absolutely debate Candace Owens, but I think everyone should debate everyone else. The problem is someone can lose a debate because they're a bad debater and still be right. Let me say that a second time. I'll show you several flat earth debates where the guys debating that the earth was round lost the debate, but they were still correct. That's the issue here, is that somebody, and the other issue, I need to bring this up because this is another really big misunderstanding when it comes to debate. If I make an accusation, in order for you to defeat my accusation, it requires you to use 10 times as much effort as my accusation offered me. Does that make sense? If I go off and say, hey, why are you racist? This is something that happened to Rolo, some bullshit specious claim that Rolo had made a racist comment when he never did. When Rolo now has to spend 10 times.
I had a racist alt account on Twitter.
Yeah, for sure.
Not so erudite and Destiny. Thank you.
Yeah. So just utter it. And by the way, the Don Ozzy, not so erudite. Shame on you. Egg on your face. You turned out you were completely wrong about all of it. In order for you to defend an accusation, it requires 10 times as much effort. And by the way, this is what you'll see prosecutors in different precincts. They use this by putting a bunch of different charges. You might charge someone with like 96 felonies. Well, if you charge them with 96 felonies, it doesn't cost the state any more to charge them, but it costs the defense more to defend against each one of them. It takes more energy to defend an accusation than it does to make one. So in the way Candace works is accuse. When she has to defend, she's like, I'm just asking questions. And then it's accuse. Other people who don't clearly understand debate, which Andrew Wilson does, they're not going to be able to handle what Candace does. Andrew does this for a living, so he was able to do this and knew full well that put into this situation, he would make Candace look bad. And he did. He made Candace look very bad today. I know some of you are in Living in Cope, but Candace provided nothing to prove in the slightest whatsoever that Tyler Robinson could never have done it. Candace Owens was supposed to prove today that Tyler Robinson could not have killed Charlie Kirk. I don't care how incredibly biased you are. You know she didn't do that today. You know deep down in your heart she did not prove that Tyler Robinson did not kill Charlie Kirk. You know she didn't do that.
Had nothing.
And you might say, well, Andrew Wilson didn't prove that he did. Andrew Wilson wasn't trying to prove that he did. Andrew Wilson was saying that the preponderance of evidence showed this, and she said there was a 0% chance that Tyler Robinson killed Charlie Kirk. Now, of course, there's no way, even Candace Owens, when she goes to her maker and talks to God someday, she even knows she was lying there. She knows it's not a 0% chance. But it helps her with her case, and it helps her make money with Super Chat. She has a massive following, and this is where she kind of got that following. She's sort of taken up the mantle for Alex Jones, and that's where she's gotten all this going.
And rather than doing that, they sent us another influencer. So let's see how it goes.
Just insulting her. Like again, Andrew Wilson is a better debater than you, Candace. For you to call him an influencer, what does that make you? Candace, if Andrew Wilson is an influencer, what does that make you? What government agency do you work for? Which PhD you have? For you to call Andrew Wilson an influencer, what does that make you, Candace?
Out of curiosity, are you between 0 to 100? What is the likelihood that you think Tyler Robinson shot Charlie Kirk and killed him?
Based on the evidence right now, I don't know. I'd say 75, 85%.
Candace?
0%.
0%.
I'm at 0.
So
with what we've seen in terms of the evidence, I'm at 0%.
So not only
okay, that is hubris and arrogance. You guys know that isn't true. You know she doesn't believe it's 0%. Okay, it's ridiculous. Let's go to let's get to some of these clips. Actually, before we get to the clips, we have a ton of super chats. Holy shit, guys. Thank you so much. We're at 939 people watching on all the platforms. That doesn't count Kick and Rumble. Thank you guys all for watching. This is crazy. This is most people I think we've ever had on here. GOAT Trophy. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Let's go. Feels like the community for boxing match. I appreciate that. Hey, shout out on the 25th of September, I am going to be the ring announcer for Tough Enough here in Las Vegas. If you guys want to come out and check that out, come say hi. You guys know one of the things I've always wanted to do in my life is be a ring announcer. I've gotten a chance to do it 3 or 4 times. And finally, Tough Enough is hired me to do it. So I'm super excited. If you guys want to come out there, September 25th, I'm going to be doing that.
That MMA, what is Tough Enough?
It's MMA. And then the next one is thank you, Andrew, Rolo, Michael, for covering the debate. And here is some love and money for defending CK's legacy. God bless. Both sides think they're defending his legacy. Isn't it funny? Here we go. Andrew and Andis and Candrew won. Andis and Candrew won. Well that was worth $1.99. I appreciate that.
Yeah, all right.
Yeah. Candace proves she can run that sick ducker. Andrew proved that he can establish dominance with a feral animal. That's pretty funny. Next one here. Malcolm's razor. No, it's Occam's razor. Occam was by the way, William of Ockham was a 5th century Franciscan monk who came. He was a Franciscan monk who came up with this idea. I don't know how I know that since I'm out of my depth when it comes to debate. Malcolm's razor. No, seems pretty clear what happened, right? He was shot by a man who was brainwashed, essentially. I'm not. What I'm saying is, I'm not saying that's proof. I am saying the idea that a gay man who was in love and said he wanted to protect his trans boyfriend shooting Charlie Kirk is not that ridiculous to believe. That's all I'm saying. Okay. Next one. Anyone who says the bullet couldn't disintegrate has clearly never been hunting. Thank you, Rational Redneck. This is one of the most stupid arguments I've heard. You just don't understand. And the problem that she had is that she's arguing against a gunsmith. I know a lot about firearms. Andrew knows way more than I know. And Andrew, Andrew did a lot of it after the military. So Andrew definitely knows what he's talking about when it comes to this. Next one here. Sartain is right about the shot. Anyone who knows what a soft tip ammo is designed to do understands. Rolo knows. I'm Andrew's biggest fan, but objectively, Candace had nothing today. Good review, fellas. Thank you so much. That's Rachel Wilson. Yo, shout out to Rachel Wilson.
There you go.
Yo, Rachel I have not got a chance to meet Rachel. She seems like a wonderful person. She's actually commented on some of my stuff. I can't wait to meet Rachel Wilson. She seems like an awesome person. Rachel, I will take you and Andrew to Big B's Barbecue when you guys come here to Las Vegas. It's Texas barbecue. It's incredible. Yeah. And then the next day we can go to Roll and Smoke Barbecue. Okay. Yes. Thank you so much, Rachel. Rachel's very, very kind of you. Next one right here. Angry Casper. But did you play Tarkov? I don't know what that is. Got you. Okay. Next one here. Candace won. Dilly would very much enjoy if you stayed at the end and jumped on with us, where we could just do a little one-on-one debate, and then we could, you could, if you're open to being embarrassed on Rumble, let's do that. Man, 49 net, bro. Thank you so much, Gabrielle. Shout out to Gabrielle. Gabrielle was just with me a couple hours ago. Mike and Rolo take a lot of time to gather the facts and data points. Always grateful to watch the streams and learn something. Thank you, Gabrielle. Gabrielle was with us at Palm Tree Day Club earlier today. And then last one here. The artards in the chat are coping hard. Sorry, simps. Candace farts still stick. Okay, cool. Okay, cool. That was 12. I'm sure we're gonna get to several more. Let's get to these. And I'll explain to you guys real quick. While we were doing this, I went and found. I had Hermes' agent go through and find the most viral clips on X of this debate, and we're gonna react to like 10 of them, and then at the very end we'll go over the closing arguments, and then we can discuss this. Then we're gonna drop off, and I'll give you guys an opportunity to come debate me and Rolo if you want on Rumble and Kick. I have a feeling I might not even get one or two people. I think there's a lot of that big tough energy right now, but I think when we get to the opportunity of you guys actually having to come and show your face on YouTube, I have a feeling we might not get that many people calling us stupid or saying that we're out of our depth. I have a feeling. I just have you know what? Charlie came to me in a dream and he told me that. He told me you guys weren't going to come and debate me. That's what Charlie told me. Got it? Okay, let's get it going. Give me 1 second. And go.
Do the counter. You can the
Yeah.
question. You're just not following it enough.
It seems pretty like if you're going to engage and you're going to say the evidence is overwhelming that Tyler Robinson is guilty, I just think that you should like.
right.
Can you tell me one?
Then let's do the
charge
counter.
that he's
You can really, this is a great gotcha.
No. You just got to ask me, play clips out of context,
Yeah.
put me in the hot seat. So please just answer the
This
question.
is fair.
Can
Name
you
all
name-
7
can
since
you-
you've been following the case.
Okay, sure.
Go ahead.
You name one.
Yeah, you named all 7.
I'm happy to do that, but can you name one?
I think he's been charged with murder.
That's actually incorrect.
Okay, great. Now name all 7.
He doesn't even. This is like.
Name all 7.
And I
Can
I
you
think
name all 7?
I can.
Then do it.
Sure, you don't have to
Do
put
it. No, do it. I'll count them. Go ahead.
you don't have
name
to put
'em.
your fingers up.
Okay.
So the issue with Candace is that Candace is kind of a bully. And by the way, Andrew Wilson is definitely a bully as well. The problem is Candace is used to bullying other people because of how big her following is. Well, she can't bully Andrew. She took his money. One more time, guys. There's a massive dynamic that you cannot ignore when you're looking at this room. He paid $300,000 to be in this room with her. And now she knows she can't run away, and she's getting bullied by someone who she's used to bullying other people.
Name them.
Yeah, sure.
Name them.
The first charge is aggravated murder because that's what carries
Okay.
a death sentence
So
in the
murder.
state of Utah. No,
Next.
that's not. That is literally not murder.
Okay.
And
Next.
so just for people, I don't have to do it in a time limit. There's nothing going on. And just to explain to people the difference of why that really matters and shows that he doesn't actually care about this at all is because aggravated murder, it's narrowly defined
Just
and because
avoiding
it
the
carries
question.
a death sentence. I'm going to answer the question.
Okay.
You're just going to recognize that your strategy of thinking that people are intimidated when you try to put a time constraint doesn't work.
Yeah,
You'll
one
be
more
better
time.
the
One
next
more
time
time.
you debate.
This is her strategy. I've had people do this before to me where they use they call out their own strategy and say that I'm doing it. Her strategy in general is to do exactly what she's talking about. She tries to intimidate people. She's trying to intimidate Turning Point USA. I'm not saying Turning Point USA is good or bad. What I'm saying is this is a strategy she's very aware of, and now someone's using it against her. This is a situation where the first time her as a bully has had to deal with someone else who she's not going to be able to intimidate.
I got it. Give me the other ones.
The more you cut me off, the longer I'll take. Do you want to just wait for me to finish of why that's a big difference so that people
I just
don't walk
want
away?
you to list the charges.
Yeah, I'm going to do that. You just don't get to pretend that there's a time constraint for me to do that.
Well, how long does it take you to list 7 charges?
Because I'm speaking. You just got to.
It sounds like you're just delaying it because you don't know them.
I know all 7 of them,
Then
and I'm
tell
going to
me
say
them.
again because you're going to get embarrassed. You don't have to rush this. I'm also showing an example of a very flawed debate strategy. I actually am under no time constraint.
I got one.
Great. The second charge is the felony discharge of a weapon. The next 2 charges are for obstruction of justice.
Okay.
The next 2 charges are for witness tampering. And the
What's
final
the specific charges, though?
that is them. Obstruction of justice,
Both of
obstruction
those?
of justice, witness tampering.
Okay. And there's no other specifics to them.
Well, I can tell you why he's being charged with it.
Just the charges and then 7.
Yeah. See, the bad thing is when you try to be an a-hole and it doesn't work.
What's the 7th?
The last charge is violence in front of a minor.
Okay. Got it. So then he's being charged with murder. You just say aggravated murder. That's the distinction. You just want to.
It's a massive. It's like you cannot
Massive.
say murder versus aggravated
Massive
murder.
distinction.
This gets to the entire crux of why him being up for the death sentence. And I actually find the defense's filing about why this is not aggravated to be very compelling of why it's not aggravated murder. I actually think if the state was going to even try to pull this off, they should have charged him with just murder. And then I do also, again, want to stress to audiences that debate strategy, it's some sport. I think he thinks it's a blood sport. It's not. It's about being right and being principled when you're engaging. And
what? Did she actually just say that out loud? It's about being right and being principled? Again, watch later on during this debate when she turns around and she goes like, I'm just asking questions.
You can make mistakes. I make mistakes all the time, but at least be genuine in pretending that you care about this case enough to know one of the 7 charges that are up against Tyler Robinson when you say the evidence is overwhelming that he's guilty. If you would like to move to final statements, I'm fine. I want to make sure Andrew has had the time that he has requested.
I think your team would like to pull up the 7 charges that he just asked you about. If you guys want to pull that up just to confirm the 7 you went through. Can you guys zoom in a little bit?
Aggravated murder, felony discharge of a firearm.
All right, guys, let's spread it up a little bit.
Obstruction of justice, which is counts 3 and 4, 5 and 6, tampering with a witness, and count 7
violent
offense in the presence of a minor.
Yeah. So 5, 6, tampering witness, 3rd-degree felony. Now, I did notice something. I just was curious about. I'm just wondering, when you pulled out your phone just before you asked that question, did somebody by chance text you that question?
You can check my phone.
I'm just curious.
No, you can absolutely not. I have not had one communication with a single person, not even my producers who are in there this whole time we were here. You want to check my phone? I'm happy to do it because you're just going to get double embarrassed. Where's my phone?
You want to see it?
I'm just curious.
You can literally do that. Here you go. PBD. You're the moderator. Anyone was texted at all during this debate.
All of this stuff
about the violent charges or anything.
Done.
I'm looking through this. You give me permission.
You have full permission to go through my phone. I don't need to cheat.
So the last one.
By the way, I actually don't care at all if either one of them knew all 7 charges, as long as you knew that there were 7 charges. There's certain times when I can't name all of the fucking moons of Saturn. It doesn't mean I don't know astronomy. I get it. Like, this doesn't make Tyler Robinson more or less guilty, but I think this was kind of like going at credibility.
Nothing to do with it. It's just a compliment.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't even read my text messages.
That's a compliment.
He's reading them.
You're okay. You'll give me permission.
Yes.
I'm just going to read 3 of them to
Yes.
1132 because after that, I don't need to read it.
Okay, beautiful. Let's go to another one here, and then
I got a question for you, Mike. So let me ask you this: going forward with whatever debate style this gets a name for, do you think that it should be allowed for people to have an iPad or something there to sort of look shit on the fly?
Because it's the truth. I remember one time, do you remember that one time it was Destiny and me versus Ryan Dawson, and we were talking about the invasion of Ukraine. By the way, I'd like to point out every single thing I said in that debate, which was 3 years ago, every single thing I said that in that debate, I was completely correct. 100% correct. I said that they wouldn't take Kiev, and I was completely correct. Anyway, in that debate, Destiny had his iPad up, and to be fair, it wasn't Destiny's fault. Like, I know the entire American and Russian hardware structure. Apparently, I'm in over my head, but I actually know all the different Sukhois and MiGs, and I actually know all the T-90s and the different tanks that the Russians have. And so we were having this discussion, and I was going over which aircraft actually had the ability to carry nuclear weapons. I happen to know that memorized because I was a captain in the U.S. Air Force. But Destiny was looking stuff up on his phone. I think he was looking like using early ChatGPT at the time. I don't care if you get it right. I don't care if the referee has to use replay. I don't care that the referee had to use replay. Just get the call right. I would love if it was nothing but fact checkers. I would love if it was a slow, boring debate where all they did was fact check each other. Why is that? Because I want to actually get to the truth more than I want to be entertained. And so that was the thing. To answer your question, 100%. Now, you want to know something funny? Jubilee debate. Mark Manson was allowed, you can look it up for yourself if you don't believe me. Mark Manson was allowed to keep paperwork in front of him and talk about studies. The debaters, the Manosphere debaters, were not. Call me out on that. Tell me I'm wrong. Tell me that I made that up. That is absolutely true. So in that case, yes, I want more facts. I want more evidence. In fact, I'm doing a debate against Alex Stein next Wednesday. And when I do it, there's going to be a fact-checking thing going the entire time while we're talking. During the entire debate. So what, do you not agree?
No, I absolutely. There was a time I might have been a little put off by that, but like my first experience, this is before I met you, but like I was on with Adam Sosnick one time and he brought on Ruslan, and Ruslan had people, in another room, and I know that he had him in there because Miguel was in there at the same time. I was with Miguel, and Ruslan was with his people. And what his guys were doing is they were feeding him data from like any time, like they were watching the show in the green room, and they would just like throw him stuff either on his watch or on his iPad. He wasn't even looking it up. He had guys that were already looking it up for him, so he could look as if he knew all this shit, but he was really just sitting there with an iPad with somebody else in the other room that was just basically feeding him data, right? Okay, fine. Had I known that was part of as long as everybody's upfront about it, yes, fine, no problem. Are we going to go in there without any device, any phone, any whatever, and see who can be the best debater based on their memory? Like, can you memorize this shit well enough?
That's not exactly my point. Great point.
But the thing is, that was one. The other time was when you and I were on whatever podcast, and I was sitting across from Farah at that time, and I had no idea this was going on.
It's far.
I had no idea. She was one of Destiny's proteges, and she was there as a sort of a ringer, and she really didn't know what to say. But comes to find out later on that she's there with her phone, and Destiny and his whole crew are feeding her information as it progresses. I had no idea that was.
Problem with that. No
I
problem
don't have with it now, but the thing is I didn't know that would, like, I can do that too. Okay, fine. I would have brought my iPad if that was the case. I didn't really need it for that one, but the thing is like if everybody is above board with it, I think that's fine. And these two are, and I think that you're going to see going forward. I will bet you this. I think that we're going to have an app of some kind that's going to be a fact-checking app that will listen to the conversation as it transpires, and it will say, no, you're full of shit. No, you're full of shit. Or no, this corroborates this. This corroborates that. I will guarantee you that at some time in the future, some smart motherfucker is going to go and make that app. It's going to be based on Hermes or ChatGPT or whatever. So that can do live and real.
There's one that can listen to audio claims and then immediately fact check.
Mm-hmm.
By the way, we can also do this at the end. I'm going to show you guys a couple things I want to go over real quick because I know a lot of my audience is really heavy into AI, and we talk about AI a lot on my show.
Mm-hmm.
Number one, for me to find these clips, I used Hermes Agent with ChatGPT 5.6 Soul. I had it run a cron job as soon as the transcript was available on the live stream, and that took about 3 hours after the live stream was done. Rolo wasn't able to do that because he woke up at 5 o'clock in the fucking morning to watch this thing live, which is still morning. How early this thing was. That's the first thing. A couple other things. There's really, really great debate prep that you can do. You can actually use Opus 5, or you can use ChatGPT 5.6 Soul. You can actually create a markdown file with all of your opponent's debate points and then have it debate with you back and forth. I would also recommend Kimmy K5 is decent at this, not great. And Grok is not quite as good. Opus 5 is definitely the best when it comes to this kind of debate prep that you guys can do. So I would recommend you guys learn how to do that. And also ChatGPT 5.6 has a new thing called ChatGPT Image 2, which actually created the thumbnail for this episode. And it's better than the thumbnail that PBD used. It is. Go check for yourself. It definitely is. It took me a little while to do that, but you can actually do it yourself and design thumbnail qualities to keep that going.
Because I have a degree in art and therefore I'm not out of my depth.
Yes.
Is overwhelming evidence that Tyler Robinson killed Charlie Kirk. Opening statements, opening comments.
Sure. And what I mean by overwhelming,
we already went over this. These were just the opening statements. So we'll go to this next one. I hope you guys will bear with me. Let's go to the next one here. Let's see what's going on here.
Curiosity. Are you between 0 to 100? What is the likelihood that you think Tyler Robinson?
Okay, we went over this one as well. Cool. These were all in the beginning, so these are good. Let's go to this next one here, and let's see what we got here.
How were you able to infer off of blurry staircase images that is Tyler Robinson?
Yeah. So in that particular case, what you do is you take that evidence, you combine it with other evidence. So it's not just that Tyler Robinson is seen in the staircase.
Why are you calling him Tyler Robinson in the staircase? That's what I want to get to.
Yeah, because I mean, we'll just use this. If you don't agree that that's Tyler Robinson, then you would just have to humor me. I think it is, so I'm using the name.
But why do you think it is? Because you make everybody, you call them
literally
conspiracy
what I'm trying
theorists.
to explain to you.
Okay.
So if you're asking for my inference, why I think it's Tyler Robinson is because Tyler Robinson said in his text messages, you'll be able to see me on security footage at the campus.
Yeah. So this is a big one, and I don't think Candace knew that this was in there. So Tyler Robinson stated, "You should see me on campus." At this point, guys, I'm sorry. I know how much you guys love Candace. You have to understand This is the mountain of evidence. And then when he's convicted, instead of her conceding, hey, there were points here that I didn't recognize, you're going to see it's get it even stronger. Again, something I will tell you guys it's going to happen in the future. When Artemis 2 or Artemis 3, Artemis 4, whatever, when they land on the moon, you're going to see more people denying that we ever landed on the moon, even though there's more evidence that we landed on the moon. Because what happens is, in the conspiracy theorists' mind, they must buckle down harder. There were a bunch of people, conspiracy theorists, that said that gravity was going to turn off on August 12th. And of course, gravity didn't turn off. And now it's like, well, it's because the federal government found out, whatever. This is just the same thing that happens over and over again with these conspiracy theorists like her.
Said it in his own messages. On top of that, Twigs, yes, you can pull them up if you want to fact check that. He did say.
Yeah, I would. I'm sorry. I actually think I really did miss that. I'm not saying you're wrong. I don't remember him saying you're going to see me in.
I'm paraphrasing,
can
but
we
it was
pull that up?
Yeah,
I
think
and
that's
by the
not
way,
right.
Twigs himself said that he had some maybe a tiny bit of doubt, but it sure looked like Tyler Robinson inside of this various surveillance footage that he saw.
So Lance, sorry,
hang on. So there's multiple reasons why it is that I believe that that's Tyler Robinson, not just because of blurry footage.
Did you have a dream? Just kidding.
No, it's because I combined multitudes of evidences.
Okay, so let's address those multitude of evidences. The first one we're working on a fact check on, because I do not ever remember him tweeting, that's me in the staircase. I mean, or texting that's me in the staircase. I think that I
didn't say that. I said I literally didn't. What I said is that he texted over, you'll be able to see me in footage at UVU. And I'm paraphrasing, but that's what he said.
Yeah. Could we get a fact check on that? The second thing you said was Lance's testimony, and actually what Lance says is, I'm not 100%.
I agree.
But in terms of what he wears, again, pointing out the absurdity, he wears Converses, he wears sneakers. If his boyfriend is not 100%, I'd like to understand why Andrew Wilson is overwhelmed by it. That's what I'm trying to get to. And lastly, I would like to remind you that Lance's statement would not be permitted. This was a huge part of the preliminary hearing, that they were leading all the questions.
Yeah, so that's not what happened. Andrew Wilson said that because of a conjunction of several pieces of evidence, he thought that was Tyler Robinson on the footage, and Tyler Robinson said, you should see me in the surveillance footage. That's actually what he said. He did not say that it was overwhelming evidence that was Tyler Robinson in the footage.
That were asked of him were leading, so they would be struck down at the actual trial. And also, I would like to remind you that he got use immunity for that. Use immunity.
I understand.
Which means that
happens, by the way, all the time in these cases.
I'm wondering why it particularly happened for Lance in this testimony. And I would also like to point out that something that's remarkable about this, again, leaning to my perspective, that Lance has a lot more, which I have said many times, Lance has a lot more involvement than the feds are letting us know. I think more is going to come out because they interviewed him on September 11th, and then for whatever reason, just ahead of what was supposed to be slated.
Like, guys, you guys who are watching this debate, this part, like, while she's trying to make it exciting, this should bore you. This has nothing to do with what we're talking about. She's just talking really fast. That's all. And she literally accused Andrew Wilson of doing the thing she's doing right now.
As the preliminary hearing, which was supposed to be in May, they bring him back to do this interview, which in my opinion should have never been allowed. And I actually agree with the defense that it's a violation of his constitutional rights not to allow them to have cross-examined him. But I understand Utah 1102, do what you do. It's all hearsay. But to allow it in that way, for him to just be able to also have use immunity, knowing that he's not going to get in trouble. He could literally get up there and lie about anything, and he's not going to get in trouble because the use immunity was given to him in April, I believe. April 28th is when they gave that testimony to the.
Generally, if they're going to give you the immunity, it's because you've already given a statement. So if he contradicts a previous statement, I don't know that she's correct here. I don't know that she's wrong, but there is an example where what she's saying is incorrect.
Defense, I think they shot it in like April 20th of 2026. That is not compelling to me for somebody who has use immunity to give a testimony and to say, I'm not really sure, but definitely like he wears jeans and stuff.
That's not what he said.
He did. Actually, you can get a fact check on that.
Yeah, that's
Skyler,
not,
I think
he said much more than that.
So a couple things we have. We have Rule 801, Tyler's messages, that says it's not hearsay. But first, go to what Candace is asking about. Skyler, I think you have it. You just text me if you want to pull it up. You said you have the text. If we can put that up on the screen. Thank you.
It was me. Look at the pictures from the surveillance footage. It was me. Okay. I literally said to you, it's not an oof. I said I didn't. I'm happy. Okay.
Bro, God, like, you guys think she won this debate for real, man? Like, what is it like? I'm just curious. Like, what is your life like? Like, in general, like your inability to just like decipher regular facts and just be able to see objective truth. You think she won this debate?
I didn't call for the fact check saying you're wrong. I literally said, I don't remember that.
Well, I'm just saying to you, like, I'm trying to be concise for you.
And then also bring the 801 that you just said. What was the other one?
Yep, the 801. Tyler messages saying it's not hearsay, if you have that as well. There you go.
Wait, what are we saying? It's not hearsay.
Statements that are not hearsay. A statement that meets the following conditions is not hearsay.
It was hearsay. They said it in the trial.
Hang on. Okay. Is consistent with the declarant's testimony and the declarant denies having made the statement or has forgotten, or is consistent with the declarant's testimony and is offered to rebut the express implied charge that the declarant recently fabricated or acted in recent improper influence or motive in testifying. So then wouldn't that mean that a bunch of this wasn't hearsay?
So the issue with his
I just want to make sure.
Yeah.
Would that mean?
Okay.
How are you?
Okay, guys. So we didn't get to that part. It ended right there. But what happens after that is that Candace goes in to say that the majority of it was hearsay. No, what it is it's a type of trial that happens before the actual trial. I'm using very reductive terms here. It's a type of trial that happens, a type of hearing that happens before the trial where you can admit hearsay so that I don't know if it's a judge or a grand jury can see whether or not the prosecution has enough to go forward. The trial has not occurred yet. So in this case, some hearsay could be allowed, but that doesn't mean that the majority of it is hearsay. Andrew's point is correct. She said several times that the majority of what goes on in this hearing is hearsay. That is not factual, which is kind of a theme that we're starting to see here. Let's go to the next one here.
So we're officially back. Andrew, before we go into the other issues you want to talk about, is it fair to say you're good defending your position of the overwhelming evidence?
Yeah.
Okay, beautiful. You take the lead. Go for it.
Yeah. So I have a bunch of questions for you, and I want to make it super painless, right? So no traps, no gotchas. I'm just going to ask them direct. And I think that as long as they're not loaded, if they're loaded, you should not respond yes or no. But as long
again, do you guys, I'm a self-help coach, so I have to do this. I'm reading some of these comments. One of the guys is like, Michael, you're not a lawyer. Bro, I'm not angry at you. I just feel fucking pity for you, and I feel so embarrassed for your family. Bro, if I say that if I can tell you that a certain crime carries a penalty of 10 to 20, I don't have to be a lawyer, you moron. I can literally look it up. I can look the code up myself, you moron. And I'm trying to be nice here. I'm not calling you what I want to call you. I'm calling you a nice word, a moron. You're just stupid. You're low IQ.
If I went and got Andrew from Legal Mindset right now and got him on, then would you believe? Because I can go get him right now. I can go ask Andrew,
bro. God damn, bro. Like again, because the speed of light is 186,282 miles a second. Because I say it, Albert Einstein says it, or Isaac Newton says it, it doesn't make it any more or less true. If I say something that is true, like your guys, the argument you're making is almost like, well, Candace has more followers, therefore she's right. Well, no, just make that argument. Just make that argument. Again, you want to know who else isn't a lawyer? Candace. She's not a lawyer either, buddy. You know who else isn't a lawyer? Andrew. None of them are lawyers. Bro, you're so... Again, this is not anger. It's like I'm grabbing you by the collar metaphorically, and I'm trying to wake you up to your stupidity, bro. You're so dumb. You don't have to be this dumb for the rest of your life.
I just directly ask them.
That's a logical fallacy is what that is.
So here's the questions that I have.
Wait, before we get into that, I would like to just reply to that. Mm-hmm. So just to be clear, we agreed to debate our claims, and then I agreed publicly that I have no issues having a conversation with you about other things that I discussed that were outside of the court hearing and things like other evidence that's come across our lap and things that we've been speaking about. But I just do want to make it clear to viewers that for whatever reason, you think that you have a right to sort of depose me.
I'm not deposing you. I just want to ask you some questions.
You literally said that I want to be able to question you.
This is a meta.
No, he has the right to depose. He has the right to ask you whatever questions you want. One more time. Look at me. Hold on. Let me help you out, guys. You took the money.
Yeah.
Candace, you took the money. If by depose you mean ask you questions, yes, he does. You took the money. You didn't agree to a fair and Socratic debate. You needed $300,000 to say yes. Yes, he can ask you whatever he wants. What is her problem, bro?
Conversation.
Right, but okay, so now we're transcending. Okay, let's use a word to use a word that you're saying. But this is what you're doing, right? Okay. So this part to me feels like a bit of
am I allowed to ask the questions?
I've already said you can ask questions, but I made it very clear to you via email and with you in conversation that we should be speaking. This
Yeah,
isn't
no,
like
but
you
I
get
wanna-
to sit.
I wanna
if,
ask
said,
you
if you
some
wanted to
questions.
depose me, you should join
I'm not
Brigitte
deposing
Macron's
you.
defense team.
This
But
is
you're
part-
like, I'm
this
just
is
going
a
to ask questions.
legitimate
Can you
part-
answer it? Blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
It's like, I don't know what you're going to ask. And
I
I'm
know.
going to answer
And if
as
you
I
have
see
issues
fit
with
because
it,
I'm not.
I get it.
Yeah.
I get it.
Just so we're clear. 'Cause
Usually in the debate.
What she's saying is, I'm used to never playing defense. I make accusations, but I never have to defend those accusations because I make the accusations on my channel where people don't question me. You're about to question me. I'm not used to playing defense. I don't know how to play defense, and this puts me in an awkward position. And
They
so she
live
used
in
the word
echo
depose me.
chambers.
You use the word depose me because that makes her seem like she's a victim or a sympathetic character. No, this is the first time you've had to play defense.
If something's not loaded, I'm just direct with
because
the
you kept
question
saying
with
I'm
the
Joe
answer.
Rogan. They had no evidence. They had no evidence. And now
Mhm.
you're like, let's move away from the evidence.
You
Let's talk about
actually,
transcendentals.
yeah. Okay. Anyway, so direct question, super easy. Was Lance Twiggs DNA on the rifle, as far as you know?
We can't say that for certainty.
As far as you know.
I already answered that in the first part. We can't say that for certainty. I told you the context of which they spoke about those things.
So no, as far as you know.
We can't say that for certainty until we know what other the 5 sets of prints were on
So that
there.
would be no.
Yeah. So the answer was to your knowledge. The answer is it is not to her knowledge, but she will not answer the
As
question.
far as you know.
We can't say that for certainty.
You can say no as far as I know for certain.
We can't say that for certainty. Actually,
You can say
just,
that for certainty.
if your energy here is going to be like you're my dad and you can tell me how to speak or what I'm supposed to say.
Again, what this is, you're putting me on defense. I don't play defense. I never played defense before. It's making me uncomfortable. I'm used to bullying people. I'm used to the accusations. And now I have to take it. Why did you have to take it? Because you took the money, Candace. You took the money. So now you have to take it. And this makes you feel very uncomfortable. You're used to intimidating people. You're used to making people stumble and fall. But Andrew does this. He does this shit. Andrew's first team All-NBA. He's not afraid of you. And so now you're like, fuck, I have to play defense. And so now instead of actually playing defense, I'm a victim. You're deposing me.
You're just going to come up against the wall. I'm
Okay,
familiar with
but-
this debate strategy.
but I am just
yes or no,
telling
yes or no,
you.
yes or no. We're not debating anymore. We're having a conversation. So I already addressed that in the first half of this about why.
No, we're still
there's-
definitely debating. This is still.
no, it's not a
this
debate.
is
Now
inclined
this
to
is
your-
you saying I want to probe
Yeah.
things that sit outside of the evidence. I actually already
That you've
addressed this.
stated.
You asked me.
Uh-huh.
You're not going to go like where you're
Okay.
sitting and I'm on trial. I'm not on trial.
Okay, great.
So
All right, let's keep going. That was a good one. Next one here. Yo, shout out to StreamYard. They actually make this super easy. I really thank you for recommending this, Rolo. This is a really, really good program.
yeah, I mean, ask a question. I know it's been, or like, can I ask a question? Or are we
Not
just in
really. I'm just gonna.
Okay.
We're going to hold to the actual contract itself.
The contract does not say that you are allowed to just question me without me being able to respond to you
I've never said you
or
can't
have
respond.
a conversation.
You've been able to respond to every question I've asked you. And by the way, the other thing is like
Let's have
I'm
it your
still-
way. I want it to look like
Still happy
we've
to have
done
the
everything
debate.
Andrew wanted to so that people can fairly
This
assess.
is how she filibustered.
Again, one more time. She has, yes, filibuster. She has the ability, if she so chose, she could choose right now to debate. She's not choosing to debate. She's choosing to claim victimhood. You notice that Andrew's not doing this at all.
She's
And,
running
there's
the clock.
there's nothing that she's accused Andrew of where he's felt off balance or had any issue whatsoever. He said, this is what I know and this is what I don't know. He has no problem with her asking questions. When he asks her questions, because she's never played defense before, she's used to being on her show with her huge following and accuse. That's called offense. She's never played defense before. Now she's like, instead of playing defense, I am a victim. And I think, I don't know if she did this on purpose, but her being pregnant right now kind of makes other people like, look at this Christian white-wing man, this white man attacking this pregnant black man, because that is what's happening. That is what's happening. But the problem is she's not actually a victim because she took the money. She's not a victim. That's the problem here.
I will not ask a question.
She's there for a paycheck, man. She, like, guys in the chat saying she didn't prepare. You're 100% correct. She did not prepare for this. And what do we hear? Like when Andrew came on just a little while ago, he said that, you know, she was like kind of muttering to herself, like, come on, Candace, you can get through 3.5 hours of this. She just was there to pick up a paycheck. She didn't prepare for it. The people who were helping her out were fact checkers. She was just trying to go by memory or whatever. I don't think she was in any way prepared. Certainly not to the degree that Andrew was, for sure. But what do you do when you're not prepared and you get caught and you paint yourself into a corner? Filibuster, yammer until you run the clock out. And that's all she was trying to do, because at the end of that clock, there's a $300 or $300,000 payout.
Hold on. I'm gonna see if I can post this debate here. Start and show. Can you guys? Okay, you guys can see the debate. There we go. I'll put it on the side there. I've never done a debate. I've never posted a debate before. So you guys, if I screw this up, I'm calling my own foul here. Let's see. Cool. So there's the debate. You can see it right there where Rolo is. Let's keep going with this thing, and you guys can answer the question right
Wait
there.
for the clip first. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, can I ask a question? I know it's been, or like, can I ask a question? Or are we
Not really. I'm just gonna.
Okay.
We're gonna hold to the actual contract itself.
The contract does not say that you are allowed to just question.
Well, real quick, the way it works is you put a 1 in the chat. If Andrew won, put a 2 in the chat. Candace won. That's how the poll here on StreamYard is able to tell the results.
Me without me being able to respond to you.
I've never said you can't
or have
respond.
a conversation.
You've been able to respond to every question I've asked you. And by the way, the other thing is like,
let's have it your way. I want it to look like
we've
done everything Andrew wanted to, so that people can fairly assess the situation.
Okay, cool. We went over this one already.
With me.
She seems like she's pissed off to be there. Like somebody agreed to this, and that wasn't her.
Well, no, she took the money. Like it doesn't matter. Like,
she did. Yeah. Like she's making it seem like this is all a bother to her, and like somebody like signed her up for this, and she doesn't know why she's there.
This is so beneath me to actually have to stand up behind the facts when I accuse another man's wife of committing murder. Why should I have to answer for these things that I've said?
Final thoughts. I'll come to you first.
Yeah, she had nothing. Just nothing.
Ding, ding, ding.
For all of her claims of Patsy, nothing. Shouldn't have a single claim.
Hold on, real quick. Let's not get to that because that's the last one. I want to get to this one first. We'll get to that one very last. I don't want to spoil it. Here we go.
Because Erica's husband was just assassinated in front of the world.
Which makes sense. Why should we take the organization?
No, that it makes sense why you would go home to your kids, just so you know.
Wait a second. That's bizarre.
Yeah, because they don't have a parent. They don't have a parent and they've just suffered a trauma. You don't go into the office.
You want to protect your husband's legacy.
Yeah,
right? And you're trying to find some new
legacy
normal.
is his children, not the organization.
There's a part in here, and I don't know if it's one of the ones we got, but where she starts talking about Erica Kirk, like accusing her of being like a feminist mom boss. And then Andrew Wilson correctly points out, you are a feminist mom boss. You don't have to do this, Candace. You're pregnant. You're doing this on your own. You are literally the thing that you are accusing Erica Kirk of being. It's so crazy. All right, let's keep going here. Let's see if we can pull this one up. Hold on a second. Oh, I did that wrong. I apologize. Give me 1 second. Let's see here. This one, share. And
we're questioning at least Erica. I don't care who's mad. I really do not care who wants to be upset after this episode. Really, you will be wasting your breath. You can spend $1 billion on influencers because this is all becoming increasingly inexplicable. You are asking me to be an idiot, actually, and I cannot do that for you. Someone once commented beneath this show that if the situations were reversed and there were this many verifiable lies,
so straight to jail.
Yeah, so that's the show intro, and straight to jail is a monopoly term.
Okay, so do not pass go.
Yeah.
Okay, just so we're clear, I'm just asking questions. I'm just asking questions about Erica Kirk, and then on her show, what's the energy? It's the go straight to jail energy. I just want to point that out. One of she's the person who talks shit to you, and then when you meet her outside after school, then all of a sudden she changes that energy. No. He was looking for her to keep that energy. She's not, because she knows she's cashing checks that the evidence, she's writing checks that the evidence cannot cash for her, and that's becoming a problem for her. Let's go to this one real quick. Let's pull this up.
Conversation you were having, right?
Okay.
Let's stay there, and then we'll go into the cross-examination stuff in about 30 minutes.
Okay. That sounds fair. Okay. So yeah, I used basically 3 pillars for the totality of the evidence. Okay. So if you want to know exactly what those 3 pillars are, this is going to be the testimony with the text messages and the confessions. This is going to be the physical evidence, and this is going to be the totality of the summary of the case. Okay. So right now we're focusing on one of these pillars in my defense, which is fine. I understand that I have to defend my claims as well. So when we're talking about the messages themselves, they seem totally valid. I have no idea why they wouldn't be valid. And I have not heard any good explanation for why it is that these messages should even be questioned. The defense hasn't questioned them, as far as I'm aware. Nobody has actually questioned that these messages came from Robinson to date, except perhaps you and other people who are kind of in that camp. But why should I question these exactly? I'm not sure.
Okay, so first let's just go over legally what the point is of a probative hearing. The defense is not putting on, they're not there to say or to argue or to defend themselves at all. They have to address what is being presented by the state. Okay, so they're not here to then say, let me give you an explanation for these text messages.
Agreed.
The relevant portion of what the defense did do was actually before we got to the preliminary hearing. I had mentioned that it was initially supposed to be scheduled for some time in May. They asked for an extension. That reading through those filings of why they were requesting an extension and why I actually believe their extension should have been granted, because they did not receive discovery on their text messages. That was one of the reasons. There were many reasons why they wanted to have an extension, but this was crucial, right? So forget just the general sense that these messages feel off. And yes, you are allowed to have an intuition. You are allowed to have a sense and just go, this is very.
No. The problem is on her show, it is all about her intuition. Remember, Erica Kirk is guilty because she looked weird when they talked. These text messages seem too perfect. That's evidence for her. That's what she considers evidence.
Very weird. We're being told this kid had like above a 4.0, Tyler Robinson. He wanted to get away. I think the text messages almost run head to head with themselves. Like he wanted to get away with it. So he thought the best thing to do would be to text a full confession of what he did, down to what I didn't even remember, saying, yeah, and that's also me.
Probably because he was a narcissist, like someone else I know. Like what you've never seen someone who commits a crime who writes a manifesto? I don't understand. This is so completely not germane to whether or not he committed the murder. I'm sorry, it's not germane in that it's too good or not too good. What's germane is that he wrote the message and it shows that he's guilty. That's the only part that's germane.
Surveillance footage. It felt a little too on the nose. People have common sense. You just don't text message.
You guys, okay, so one more time. I'm just going to play this again. It feels, this is what she considers evidence. Remember at the beginning of the whole thing, she says, I'm going to show that nothing about this story makes sense. Nothing about this story makes sense. And then this is what she considers evidence. Listen to her words.
Text a full confession of what he did, down to what I didn't even remember, saying, yeah, and that's also me in the surveillance footage. It felt a little too on the nose.
Prosecution rests, Your Honor. Prosecution rests. Candace was obliterated. Candace was obliterated in this debate. Obliterated.
People have common sense. You just don't text message. But then we're also supposed to believe that he put a note under and burn this and get rid of the evidence. But don't worry about that because I'm about to text you a full confession. That it felt off. It felt weird off the bat. The manner in which they were texting, we're told he's like a gamer who's using a Dremel to carve expressions, catch fascists. But then suddenly he's writing like a 1700
also as a Helldivers
novelist.
Player, he did actually get the 500K code correct.
Yeah, I'm not a gamer, so we'll say that. If we start debating that, you'll be way over my head.
But yes,
but my point being is just that, just a general sense of why people had a reaction to these messages that seemed like they were written by Jane Austen rather than like a kid who games and writes catch.
Yeah, but do you see how that's
again because it seems like the confession that hurts my point was written by Jane Austen. Therefore, that is evidence that he did not actually commit the murder. And as I said in the beginning of this debate, I'm going to prove to you that none of this makes sense.
That is, I just said that. I said, just parking aside the intuition of just something feels wrong here, which you should follow your intuition. You should actually do that. If you say the COVID vaccine is running out, feels like it's coming out too fast and there's too many celebrities telling me to do it, I'd like to take a pause. That's good. That is, you are allowed to do that. I believe in intuition.
But hang on. Let me respond a little bit here because you've been going for a minute. Let me at least respond to a little bit of this. So the first thing is like when people bring up the COVID vaccine, not trusting the COVID vaccine en masse was the science. That wasn't just intuition. That was the science. There was tons of competing science. Now they tried to suppress it. That's true. But there was tons of competing science for
one more time, guys. If you think Candace won, please put a 2 in the chat. If you think that Andrew won, put a 1 in the chat. We're still doing a poll right now. Hold a second. Did that wrong.
The manifesto sounded too much like Sense and Sensibility.
The manifesto was spelled correctly. Rolo, they used correct grammar. That the manifesto was too good. It was written too well.
Sounded like Pride and Prejudice.
And mass and things like this.
Kept telling us was
now, when you're talking about intuition, though, when you say trust your intuition, I'm actually giving a different message. You actually should be very wary about trusting just your intuition. It is true that intuition can be useful, but it has to be tempered with logic, reason, explanatory power, and evidence, not just intuition.
That's why we're parking it aside. Intuition is the first step. Something feels off, right?
Okay.
That was my first step with COVID. I don't like the way it's being pushed. It shouldn't require a celebrity campaign, by the way. Another element of that is why people don't feel good about the Charlie thing. Why do we have so many influencers saying things? It's over. Why are you guys all using the same adjective? Can you switch it up? I'm overwhelmed. Like, chill. Like, you could say, I found some parts compelling. I think this should go. I found some parts compelling. Maybe we should, see at the trial. That would be
Don't you think Fed slop's a buzzword for the counter industry?
But everyone on the same day of watching this trial, which was, I would say, not overwhelming at all. Nobody came in medium, right? No one came in like there were some interesting aspects. This was a little suspect. But I do think it's enough to go to trial. They all came in like they were passing away and we're going to die from being overwhelmed.
Well, they're trusting their intuition.
Okay. Well, actually, in that scenario, they're looking at the preliminary hearing and have a reaction to it. It wasn't their intuition. But like I said, parking aside, just getting to the substance, parking that aside, just
again, guys. This my favorite discussion in the world is when women talk about intuition. Whenever they turn out to be wrong, it's never because their intuition was wrong. When somebody else when their narrative is incorrect, it's never because of their intuition.
Right.
They watched the preliminary hearing and their intuition who told them that his DNA were on the bullets, on the trigger, on the screwdriver, on the freaking the towel, that they had a video of him being there, and he said he was going to be in the surveillance, that his boyfriend. He was going to protect his boyfriend, who was a trans man, and all of these things that he's literally said he was going to kill Charlie Kirk. All of this stuff. Oh my God! Do you know what happened? I don't. You know what, Rolo? I don't need any of that evidence. You know why?
Nope. I had it in a dream.
Because I saw it in a dream. Charlie came to me in a dream and told me who it was that killed him. That's how this works, man. We are so crippled as a nation.
It's like your girlfriend breaks up with you because she thought you cheated on her in a dream.
Yes. Yes, she cheated. Yes, that's what this is.
General intuition sometimes might be text messages. Then we look at the filings, which came from the defense, and they were requesting an extension saying, we have gone to the prosecution and we have requested all of this stuff in discovery. Yes, you are saying that you took Lance's phone, okay, and that you collected his phone on September 11th and that you sent it off or whatever. You took a picture of the text messages and we are being given these text messages to review. Crucially, Kathy Nestor said, I have not even been given access to my client's phone during this hearing. She said, I haven't even given access to my client's phone. She can't tell you, as a part of the discovery request, it's not enough to say to me, Candace, I just got a text message from Candace. And I say, I didn't send that text message. Maybe that's what her client's saying. We don't know because we're not at the trial, right? Maybe he didn't send those messages. Could there be someone who
I'm reading the chat. And there's a guy in there, like, if you watch the debate at all, you know that Andrew got bodied. And I'm like, bro, again, I'm gonna put an invite in the chat here for you to come in and debate us. Like, seriously, like, no. I'm not. Obviously, I'm not upset. Obviously, you have the right to your wrong opinion. My question is, like, is Candace paying people to make these stupid comments? Is there like a bot farm or something that's doing this? I don't understand. Like, why would you say something that dumb?
Into his Discord? Could there be someone who logged in to his Apple? George could be sending text messages right now. We are married. He has every login that I have. And remember, he's up for a death sentence. So if I'm able to sow reasonable doubt with common sense.
I think Tyler's up for a death sentence. George, her husband, is not.
He may come during the trial, and when they actually have to address these points, say, I did not write those messages. I was here. Lance, my boyfriend, was logged into my phone, logged into my Apple ID and my iCloud sending messages. I know that we have the capability because my husband does it. He has the capability to send messages from my phone. It is not convincing to the public when, for whatever reason, the FBI combined with the SBI, it was not the prosecution's fault. They made that clear during that hearing, would not allow them that discovery request to be able to see where did that message come from? Because you're saying my client was here, right? I want to know if that message actually was generated from his iPhone when he was waiting to retrieve his, rifle, hoping that the pooch doesn't have a bad sniffer, like just weird messages. I want to make sure that, yes, it was actually him. He was holding his phone and his boyfriend didn't just log in to his computer when he was home. Lance was his boyfriend.
One more time. The idea that someone else could text from your phone is conjecture. The idea that you text from your phone, you could also say is conjecture, but the idea that someone else could have texted from your phone doesn't prove that you didn't text from your phone. That's the part. She's living in an ocean of conjecture and acts like she's on the mountaintop of evidence. She's not. She's confused her audience.
There's a crucial fact here. That discovery was not met by the time we got to preliminary hearing. So I remain unconvinced by these text messages. Just as you feel convinced by them, I feel unconvinced by them.
Okay. So then the idea here is the reason that you don't think that these are valid text messages, and you don't, right?
It has not been proven that these messages are valid and they don't sound valid to me. I don't think anyone, even if someone was selling like a, pot on the corner, would be smarter than to write a full-fledged confession.
Yes. No. It does seem reasonable to me if you write a full-fledged confession to a crime when you committed the crime. It actually does. It actually, hey, I went to the store and I ran over somebody, and then you write that you ran over. It actually does seem, it might not be in your best interest. It might be stupid to write it, but it does seem reasonable to me that that's what you would write, since that's what happened.
He even writes, I thought I would get away with it, and I was hoping never to tell you until old age. And then we're being told that he wanted to commit suicide. And okay, but he just said he wanted to get away with it, but he's not smart enough to.
Yeah, again, we've established he's mentally unstable if he did this. Of course, someone can say, I want to get away with it, and then commit. So these are, guys, you understand, this is conjecture. These are data points that do not lead towards him committing the crime or not committing the crime.
I don't know, maybe not text it's such a confession like we've never seen. I think this would be like the first time ever somebody has start to finish written an entire, I'm in the surveillance footage and I'm here and I'm wearing my Converse. I'm being a little facetious here, but it was a little ridiculous. It didn't pass the sniff test for me.
You have kids. And you love them more than anything.
I do.
If it was the case that you thought that your kid was innocent, wouldn't you be out telling everyone?
This is so true. If somebody came after Rolo, if Rolo said I knew Rolo wasn't guilty and they tried to charge him with murder, bro, I would be hosting live streams 7 days a week. Just take it, bro. I would be bashing. I would have the cops breaking down my door. I'd be doxing people. Are you kidding me? If somebody came after one of my family members, I don't give a fuck what the judge or even my attorney told me. I would be on here running my mouth, bro. They would be trying to swat me. Are you kidding me, bro? This is an absolute. I cannot imagine if somebody tried to accuse my brother of a crime or something. I knew he was innocent. I would be on here. Bro, I'd be on every channel. I'd be standing on the rooftop. I'd be doing a debate tour. I'd be doing a podcast tour. 100%.
Brother, that you thought that they were innocent, and also, wouldn't you maybe recant and say, hey, he didn't actually confess to me. He didn't actually, none of this happened the way that the state is presenting it. What would have prevented the parents from testifying?
Well, two things I can answer that. And if you watch my show, I keep telling you it's not vibes. So right after the shooting happened, Lance Twiggs, the FBI put him into a safe house they paid for. They went to the parents as well, to Matt Robinson and Amber, basically said, your life's at risk. There could be somebody who jumps up and wants to avenge Charlie Kirk. And, we're going to watch you. And they went into a federal safe house. What happened next is that they started thinking that the feds were maybe going to, maybe not as honest as they thought. And
how do you know any of that?
So you gotta watch the show, right?
Yeah, no, how do you know that?
I had a source within the Robinson family.
You have a source, an anonymous source, of course. So there's no way for us to verify that what you're saying right now is actually even true.
Guys, do you not see what this is, bro? I just so crazy to me. She actually said at the beginning of the debate, she goes, I'm going to show you that none of this makes sense. And then her source is someone that nobody can question. And she can't even prove it's real.
She says
you actually think she won this debate, bro. I feel sorry for humans. I feel sorry for humanity that any of you. I am more sad that I am more disappointed in you if you think Candace won than if you believe the earth is flat. I'm not kidding. I'm serious. If you believe the earth is flat, I actually okay, you fell in with a group of people who don't know what they're talking about. If you think that Candace won, that takes active, that's not passive stupidity. That's active stupidity.
Find it to be reliable hearsay?
No, I don't find it to be reliable at all. It's just a source.
I'm just doing what the prosecution
you're doing
did.
is a cool story.
It's not cool. Well, you must have hated watching
you're giving us a cool story. You're saying that according to your sources, that the reason that the parents haven't recanted any of this.
Recanted what? They have no statement from the parents.
Wait, I just want to make sure that if it was the case, it was being reported in mainstream media that your father came to you and said, hey, is this you? What's going on here? And then he and one of his buddies took you in where you turned yourself in. You wouldn't go out and be like, no, that's not what happened.
That isn't what happened, though. You're just wrong on this.
Okay. Maybe I'm paraphrasing. What am I wrong on?
So what is sorry, just so I'm clear, where is your evidence that the parents turned him in?
Well, no, I didn't say that.
You said there's the mainstream media?
I said with a sheriff friend.
Yes.
But the father did confront him.
The father confronted what?
Tyler Robinson.
And where did you learn this? That the Tyler
confronted that's part of the official documents. Our fact checkers can pull that up. But yes.
But I'm saying, when you say official documents, do you mean you saw this on CNN or you saw this play out in the hearing?
No, this was one of the things that I went through in fact check pre-debate.
Are you talking about the charging documents?
I think it was it could have been in the charging documents, but we can pull them up.
No.
And yes, are you disputing this?
Do we have that in the back to pull it up?
I can already tell you what you're talking about, the charging documents, because this is where we had to figure out where this story came from, because everyone was operating on the assumption that Matt Robinson turned him in. Until we got to the preliminary hearing and we understood, like I said, even for that, when you are charging someone, you can use hearsay. It's all probative, right?
Sure.
Nothing. So they didn't have statements. It's not like Matt Robinson, even though he was interviewed that night. Amber Robinson was interviewed that night by a Fed, separate rooms. Tyler Robinson was interviewed by a Fed. They did not produce statements saying, my son did this. I believe my son did this. But what happened was they did interviews, but also the crucial person here who you just brought up is Mike Mitchell. Mike Mitchell is the biggest unknown in this entire case. Everyone keeps saying they heard from Mike Mitchell this, they heard from Mike Mitchell that. So when the person wrote up the report that night, and it was Brian Davis who wrote up what became the charging document, he after they transported Tyler Robinson from the Washington Sheriff's County office up to, I think it's Salt Lake City. I think it was 4 a.m. in the morning that they got up there. He then writes the what becomes a charging document. So he's basically saying, we all spoke to a bunch of people and here's the information that we got, right? We've not seen that. So it could have come from Mike Mitchell. Mike Mitchell could be saying,
I don't know how this negates the point though. Why
it
wouldn't
truly
the
negates
parents,
the point because you don't have a statement from the parents.
Yeah,
you are going.
Why wouldn't they just correct the
it's not correcting. It doesn't
misinformation?
negate the point. The point is that we now got the preliminary hearing. If the parents were the ones who said, I'm turning my son in because he's guilty.
I didn't say they turned him
in. I think you're talking about the over. You said it's been the narrative. Everybody's know.
Like if the parents want Tyler Robinson to not get the death penalty, why would they talk about this at all? Like, I don't understand her point. Like the parents probably wanted him to turn himself in, but the parents are not part of the prosecution. That her point doesn't make sense here.
The narrative initially, which I think you agree with, was that, Matt Robinson knew his kid was guilty and turned him into the police station. What actually happened in terms of Sheriff Brooksby, who was present there and gave a press conference, what happened was this Mike Mitchell character essentially peer pressured him, and we can get a fact check on this. We can find Sheriff Brooksby's press conference. And he said, they know it's you and you're going to come in peaceably, or people are going to be banging down your door. He was a undercover cop, which I don't like that. I don't know what he did undercover. It's very hard to find anything about Mike Mitchell, but he worked with them for 20 plus years, the police officers. The reason why Tyler Robinson knew him was because he lives nearby and he was also his Boy Scout leader.
How does this negate that the parents could write this second? And by the way, if you had the evidence,
address that point. I'm just saying that your first point, which is that the parents did this.
Yeah.
We don't know that the parents.
I didn't say that they did ever.
Well, you're quoting the parents as having said. You said that Matt Robinson said that his kid was, you say involved. I don't want to misquote you.
Confronted him.
Yes. And I'm telling you that we have not seen any evidence that is true.
We can fact check that. Okay. Because we do have evidence.
And I'm saying it's the charging doc, which could have been derived from a statement Mike Mitchell said.
Two things I have ready in the back. One is the charging doc, and the other one is a video of Kathy Nestor saying she hasn't seen Tyler's phone.
Okay, we can run Kathy to go back, and then just to go backwards to Kathy first in court saying she didn't get her client's phone. Yeah, and then I think we'll go to the.
I'm going to speed it up just a little bit.
Thing not in dispute. These are all things that are not even disputed.
Okay, so we don't have to show it.
We never get to the thing that I am disputing.
Well, I was just providing an answer. We were coming back in from a break because you were talking about the text messages, something that you felt was concrete. So it was just my rebuttal to you that it's not concrete because they haven't had a chance to actually answer that. And she didn't even get to see your client's phone. So that's effectively, again, the state saying these messages are real. You don't get the discovery on these messages just yet. She will during trial. They will actually discover the messages.
That would make their case fall apart if it was the case that they weren't able to actually pull the data off the text messages? Do you think the prosecution would go to court with fabricated text messages?
It's called winners and losers. They may not be fabricated. But by the way, as what they are saying, like I said, if there was somebody logged into his phone, they may not be fabricated. That's the point.
So again, like, do you understand like how many she's not producing any evidence. She's just creating one unfalsifiable claim after another. So now, even if they prove that the messages are real, then now they can say, well, somebody else must have sent the messages. So somebody else got a hold of Tyler's phone and wrote the confession. I get it. And put Tyler Robinson's DNA on the bullets. Got it. And on the trigger and the trigger guard. Got it. And on the towel that the rifle was wrapped in. Got it. And put his DNA on the screwdriver. Got it. And I understand all of it. Got it. I understand. We're the ones who are insane for believing that maybe he's guilty.
They just could be somebody else.
The parents fact check.
So I was saying, I believe what you're talking about was derived from the charging doc, which was signed off by Brian Davis. Let's see if that's correct. What are we looking at
Robinson's mother explained that over the last year or so, I'm sorry.
Can you zoom in?
Is this the charging doc?
I can see it. Robinson's father reported that when his wife showed him the surveillance image of the suspected shooter in the news, he agreed that it looked like their son. He also believed that the rifle that police suspected the shooter used matched the rifle that was given to his son as a gift. As a result, Robinson's father contacted his son and asked him to send a photo of the rifle, which makes sense with the text messages. Robinson did not respond. However, Robinson's father spoke on the phone with Robinson. Robinson implied he planned to take his own life. Robinson's parents were able to convince him to meet at their home.
Yes. So this is proving my point. This is from the charging document, correct? Yeah. So what I'm saying to you is that 3 people got interviewed on that night. Mike Mitchell got interviewed, Amber Robinson got interviewed, and Matt Robinson got interviewed. Of the 3 of them, only one of them actually wrote a statement, which was referred to in this preliminary trial. He came in, I believe, in March, Mike Mitchell, and he wrote a statement, which I find to be very shady that they decided to bring.
But why aren't the parents disputing that?
Well, first off,
that's the question.
First off, the parents are not going to ever play in court, play to the cameras in court when they have a legal team that is going to be advising them not to speak to the court because your son could go to prison forever.
They're playing to somebody else who's your source.
I'm not going to address that.
They're playing to someone else.
That was it. That's a kill shot. Yeah.
Hold on. Oh my God. One more time. Let's do that again.
Very shady that they
Got
decided
it,
to bring.
but why aren't the parents disputing that?
Well, first off,
That's the question.
First
I've
off,
been
the
asking.
parents are not going to ever play in court, play to the cameras in court when they have a legal team that is going to be advising them not to speak to the court because your son could go to prison
But they're
forever.
playing to somebody else who's your source.
I'm not going to address that.
So her.
Right.
You understand? For those of you who don't grasp, if the parents are going to get in trouble for talking, then why is her source talking? That's the point.
Someone else who's your source but won't go publicly tell the media this is not true?
Well, what I did not say to you that I just said I have a source, so I want to be very clear and take it from somebody who was involved and permanently sued. When I have to take my lawyer's advice, I mean, there's so many things I want to respond to when people are speaking about.
Yeah, but it's bizarre that they would utilize a source which would get the information to you, but wouldn't just go to the media and be like, actually, that's all wrong.
I am telling you that you would nary find a lawyer who would advise you to go to the media.
And don't go to Candace Owens. Is anyone else not see? It's like Candace Owens. You guys understand? She's an ordained priest. You can go to Candace Owens because she's not part of the media. And my favorite line of the whole thing is, I wanted to talk to Turning Point USA, and instead I'm talking to another influencer. You're an influencer, Candace. You are an influencer. What is wrong?
Especially when your son
was up for death. If I thought that my kid was in any way, shape, or form going to be up, you couldn't shut me up. Or my wife, she would be like, that's not true. That's ridiculous. There's no possible. That never happened. These people are lying through their teeth.
Dude, if they did that to Andrew Wilson, me and Rolo wouldn't shut up. Are you kidding me? We wouldn't shut up.
They'd be public whether you like it or not.
Yeah, that's for you and your wife. But when a judge issues a gag order in a case and your son is up for death and your lawyers could be advising you, but if you say anything, you could blow the case, you would have a more responsible consideration.
I see.
And we're speaking opinion here. You're like, well, I wouldn't care. I'd violate it and I'd violate the judge's orders and see what happened.
If you have a source, it seems like they're violating it with them.
I'm not speaking to a source, but I'm saying.
Sorry, I don't know why I didn't ask this. Did the judge give a gag order? I don't think the judge did give a gag order. There's a difference between the judge giving a gag order and the defense team saying, don't speak to the media.
She was speaking just relevant to what this is. We have not seen any proof that statement that is included in this charging document. I think it is highly likely on the basis of the preliminary hearing that all came from Mike Mitchell. And Mike Mitchell would be a part. He's
based
saying,
on the statements of
it's him saying the parents told me this. The parents could dispute that. That's going to come down the line, right? They're going to be able to seat the parents. I will say this, putting together context clues. If the state had it on, 100% certainty that Matt Robinson and Amber Robinson said it, a 5-day preliminary hearing would be a good time to say we have enough evidence. And I can tell you why Matt Robinson made the statement, and here is his statement that he signed. That would have been a good time to present that evidence.
That would also be a good time for the defense to say that's just totally fabricated.
No, it's not. It's the wrong time.
Why couldn't they?
That is completely the wrong time.
Why couldn't they?
Because what they're doing is they already said they didn't receive discovery. They literally can't. They literally can't because they can't. They did not
You're saying
receive
that
discovery.
they didn't receive that information? No.
Guys, I want you to listen to how ridiculous this argument is. So she got caught in a logical fallacy. She said this is a point where they would, if the prosecution had evidence X, this would be the time to release it. And Andrew's response to that astutely was, then if the defense had evidence Y, then this is the time to release it. And she's like, oh, no, this is not the time for that.
% certainty that Matt Robinson and Amber Robinson said it. A 5-day preliminary hearing would be a good time to say we have enough evidence. And I can tell you why Matt Robinson made the statement, and here is his statement that he signed. That would have been a good time to present that evidence.
That would also be a good time for the defense to say that's just totally fabricated.
No, it's not. It's the wrong time.
Why couldn't they?
That is completely the wrong time.
Why couldn't they?
Because what they're doing is they already said they didn't receive discovery. They literally can't. They literally can't because they can't. They did not receive discovery.
By the way, they didn't receive all discovery. They did receive some of the discovery. They just didn't receive some text messages.
That information?
I have evidence to prove that my son is innocent, but I didn't get any text messages. Therefore, we're gonna sit on this evidence and we're gonna continue to go down this trial. So I have evidence that exonerates my son, but instead of showing the evidence because it's a preliminary hearing, we're gonna wait till we go to trial because Candace Owens thought it was a good idea.
No, they just received the text messages, but in order to—
That's not the text messages.
The probative information.
Yeah, we're talking about the information that we just reviewed. That's not the text message.
Again, Andrew is of course correct, and she has no way out of this.
The state never put it on.
Yeah, they didn't. The defense could easily still have presented this. Yeah,
no,
they could have said they're they're not allowed to.
No,
sure?
in a preliminary hearing,
yeah.
the defense is engaging with whatever evidence the state decides to put on. They did not put this on as evidence.
The idea that if your defense team had evidence that you were innocent of a crime and they wouldn't present it during a preliminary hearing where the rules are lax, specifically, which she talks about hearsay, the rules on what you can present in those preliminary hearings is much more loose. The idea that they would rather go to fucking trial rather than present evidence because whatever evidence they present in discovery, it's not like this is not Perry Mason bringing a fucking donkey into the courtroom. Whatever, that's the way it works. Fair use, with discovery, Both sides get to see all of the documents. There's no way you're going to surprise them in trial. No, Andrew is correct, 100% correct, logically correct. If the defense had some piece of evidence that Candace Owens is claiming that they had, they would indeed have presented it at the preliminary hearing. To say anything else is ridiculous.
Ryan Davis was up there.
So they're not allowed to present anything?
They're responding to the state's
I'm asking,
evidence.
are they allowed to present anything?
They are allowed to say.
Like if there was a conspiracy that they could prove right then and there, would they present that in one of these hearings?
No, it wouldn't be the right time for
I
that.
disagree. I think
It's
that they not only could do it, but they would do it. In fact, when I talked in depth with my attorney, they said that's exactly, if you had actual evidence that there was fabrications by the feds, that's exactly when you would introduce that.
When we set out to create a shoe.
Incredible. All right, guys, last one, and then we'll set it off one more time, guys. All that big macho energy. I see you guys in the chat. I'm going to let you guys all come on. I'm going to let you all come on live. Keep that energy. Keep that energy. Come on, bro. Make sure. Don't drop off. I'm going to let you guys all come on so that you can prove to me that you're not a bot. You can't. You want. Oh, sorry, Michael. I can't turn on my camera, but you're wrong. Candace is right about everything.
She didn't have a solid piece of evidence. She had no positive evidence Israel's involved in anything. No positive.
Let's go back to the beginning. Sorry.
And so before we wrap up, final thoughts. I'll come to you first.
Yeah, she had nothing. Just nothing. For all of her claims of Patsy, nothing. She didn't have a single claim. She didn't have a single solid piece of evidence. She had no positive evidence Israel's involved in anything. No positive evidence that France is involved in anything. No positive evidence TPUSA is involved in anything. No positive evidence that Erica Kirk is involved in anything. When I asked her about her claims about Erica Kirk, yeah, it's just funning. It's just funning, you know? Or, yeah, I do think that she needs to sit down and ask some questions, or answer some questions. But you know what? I don't even know if she has. Like, maybe she has. I have no idea. Yes, I'm going to have an official timeline with unconfirmed evidence. That's just fine. Hey, it's hearsay. If that's good enough for the state, it's good enough for me. But my biggest problem with the state is that they're admitting all this hearsay. It's like she's a contradiction machine. On top of all of this, the thing that I wanted to get out of this more than anything else was to just demonstrate one thing. Yes, it's true. I'm not perfect on the case. I'm not going to ever pretend that I am, and never did. But what has been made very clear to me is that there's nobody with an alternative theory that has any evidence for it at all. None. Zero. And the continuous kind of expression, we're running an investigation. What kind of investigation builds a timeline out on a receipt that they don't even confirm? What kind of investigation tries to make these bold claims that Israel's involved and France is involved and all these different players are involved and never shows any evidence? We're just asking questions. It's again, like I said in my opening, it's always intuition, my feelings, how I feel about things, how I think about things. Andrew, how many times do you hear this today? Andrew, you can't tell me how I'm supposed to think. Yeah, nobody's trying to tell you how to think. But you should rationally come to your conclusions based on evidence and facts. And the truth is that 90% of what you're saying is simply intuition based. It came to me in a dream. It's intuition. Almost none of it has any evidence at all. Just, I'm skeptical because these people over here said things, and that makes me skeptical. And it's like, but no evidence. Note this to the audience, to everybody watching. You might hate my guts. That's fair enough. I get that. I'm not the most likable man. I understand that too. But there was nothing. I mean, no evidence at all that Tyler Robinson was a patsy that was ever put forward by Candace this entire debate. Now, maybe you could say that we stalemated when it came to whether or not Robinson did it. She says, I found the evidence convincing, or unconvincing. Andrew says he found the evidence convincing. Okay, fair enough. Maybe you can't do too much about that, but there was nothing. She had nothing for Robinson being a patsy, nothing for any of her conspiracies, not a zero, zilch. And she backed away on a bunch of them. This is the first time I think she's ever really backed away from the Twigs thing. First time I've heard.
This is actually correct. He has her on tape. She was claiming that this was definitive evidence, and she is back. She has backed away from so many claims during this debate.
Back away from the Erica thing, back away from TPUSA, being very cautious about making any of those claims now. Whereas on her show, much more likely to be making those claims. So she just had nothing the entire debate. Zero.
Candace.
All right, man. All right, let's go ahead and read super chats before we get out of here. And then again, we're going to give all of you. Well, I'm not like these other people. You can come on. You want to fuck with the bull, you get the horns. You think I'm afraid of talking to any of you. You're out of your mind. Okay. So I'm going to leave a thing right here at the end, right on YouTube at the very end. I'm going to leave a link and you guys can jump on Kick and Rumble, but only if you want to debate me. I'm going to give you guys 5, 10, 15 minutes. After that, after all of you guys puss out, coward, you want to talk all this noise, you won't come on the stream. After that's done, then I'm going to jump off. Okay. But let's get to these last couple ones. Okay. This one right here. No, we did this one. Andrew W. At no point did Candace ever directly answer a question. Her opening statement was unclear. Andrew's opening statement explained her position better than she did herself. Correct? No. Here's the problem, Bird. He explained her position. In this debate, she needed to back away from her position. That's a great point. You're making a great point, but she had to back away from her position because she understood her position, the things, all that big machismo energy of accusing people of crimes. She can't do this in this debate because she can't back up any of her statements. So she has to stand back and say, little shrug emoji. The new shrug emoji, it's Candace Owens. I'm just asking a question. I'm shrugging. I'm just asking a question. That's what she does now. Okay. She didn't understand cross-examination. That is correct. And the next one right here, Charlie's shirt bowed up. Charlie's shirt bowed up. There was no bullet. It was a sniper charge. Watch closer. I can't tell if you're being funny.
Shape charge.
I can't tell if you're being stupid or funny. Like, what? Where's the smoke? Bro, it's so dumb. The reason why his shirt came up is because it displaces air. Oh my God, bro. You can literally run this experiment 100,000 times on your own. I don't know why we're still doing this.
It was C4.
Ask a Brother podcast. Ask a Brother, open invitation. Anytime you want to come on Access Vegas, let us know. Guys, go check out Ask a Brother podcast. He has got a book coming out, and make sure you go support that dude. Let's go to the next one here. She spent twice as much time talking in the full debate as Andrew. Half of it was saying nothing. Yeah, that's correct.
Exactly what I predicted. I said she's going to 60% is going to be Candace filibustering, 30% is going to be Patrick Bet David talking about himself, and then 10% is going to be Andrew Wilson making cogent arguments throughout the whole thing. And by the way, I was right about Patrick Bet David too, because if you get about halfway through, he starts talking about how great friends he's always been with Candace Owens. Like they have a nostalgia moment.
All right, Keith. Thank you, Keith, for the $1 here. Right here. Let's go to Loveless Rob. Candace said nothing of substance. She policed Andrew's speech, accusing him of bad faith while using the same tactics. Mm-hmm. They hid behind just asking questions. She proved nothing. She made millions off CK's death. Evil. All right, let's go to the next one here.
And continuing to do so.
To me, Tyler's text message seemed like he was trying to deflect suspicion away from his boyfriend or other parties who might have helped it. That's an interesting thing. Mm-hmm. That is not proof, but that is a more sustainable suspicion to me than the other stuff that I've heard.
That is interesting conjecture, my friend.
It is interesting conjecture. D Block 2025 won't call in. He's a bot. I honestly, I don't know how any of you who thought Candace won, any of you aren't bots. I kind of think none of you are real people. She said a whole lot without actually saying anything. It's like listening to a Biden speech. It's funny. Okay. A little Biden shot in there. Next one here. This is Marvin. By the way, go back to, it was JNELS 8870. Thank you for the $5. Next one right here. Marvin VINJ 71, $5. Her fans do not care about the space and self-improvement, about this space and self-improvement. They're deep into victimhood mentality. They don't let this chat make you cynical. Yeah, I appreciate that, man. Sorry, guys. I have my contacts in and I can't see things close up when I wear them.
Do you know how long I've been doing this?
Yeah, I've got 12-hour shift tomorrow. I would love to stay for the call-in section, but I'm going to bed. Shout out to Rational Redneck. Thank you for the $5. 1,000 joules loot box. Joules. They're going to accuse us of something. They're going to accuse us of something now. We're part of the conspiracy now. I got 1,000 joules. Here we go.
This is as close to a yarmulke I have.
You get the yarmulke on. Yes. All right, here, guys. Here's what's going to happen. Right now. Okay. I want to see all that big tough energy you guys had. Oh, we got another one here. Real just have different opinions. He says he's a real person. He just has different opinions. Okay, that's good. All right. We've had all these super chats. You guys, I'm not in this for the money. When we go to Rumble and Kick, obviously you guys are probably not going to leave me any super chats. I don't care. We're cutting the YouTube stream right now. Here's what I'm going to do. Invite guests. Yo, ready? We're in trouble. Check the chat, y'all.
There it is.
3, 2, 1. Check the chat, y'all. Check the chat. It's in Kick. I'm going to put it in Rumble right now. Where's it? I put it in Rumble.
I'm going to kill my YouTube too.
Yes. Here we go. It's in Rumble too. If you guys want to join us, I don't want to hear nothing. All you tough guys who are sitting there talking all this about Candace won the debate and you're Michael, you're too dumb. You don't know how to talk about it. That's fine. Let's come on. you going to talk about it or are you going to be about it? Let's do it right now. Ready? Let's go to start. Okay, guys, I'm cutting all these off. I'm cutting Facebook off. Take care, all you people on Facebook. Let's see here. Let's do X. We're going to leave X on. We're going to take Twitch off. Dude, I got LinkedIn on. I don't even know how I got LinkedIn on here. LinkedIn, shout out to the thousands of people watching me on LinkedIn. Thank you. Shout out to all the LinkedIn people. Shout out to all the people watching on oh my gosh. All right. So